Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 319 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's going on, everybody? We had another week in the NHL with some COVID disruptions. We'll be getting to that a little later. We had a referee malfunction, or I should say a replay malfunction. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the big news was in Tampa. Tom Brady won another Super Bowl. Let's go around the horn, check in with the boys first. Mikey Grinelli, looks like you got a patch jersey on there.
Yeah, I got my Tom Brady salute to service jersey on, and boys, he did it again. I'll just leave it at that. He did it fucking again.
I wish I could have gotten preseason odds of where will Ryan Whitney be watching this year's Super Bowl. I don't think Detroit would have even been an option, but if it was, it would have been a huge payout. The Wit Dog will go to you second. You were in Detroit for the Barstool Sports. They launched a new app in Michigan not too long ago, and you were part of a little betting strategy campaign yesterday.
Yeah, unfortunately, a little bit of a malfunction. Around 5:15, we were sitting in with a room with Portnoy, and he was going over the rules of the competition, and all of a sudden, you couldn't get a bet in on the app. Now, apparently, every year around Super Bowl time, the competitors as well, they go down. Like, the amount of betting and how many people are looking to get action in that day, it's like they can't handle it. It's similar to, I think, TVG's down or whatever's down when the Kentucky Derby happens. So I felt bad, right? I felt bad. Like, Portnoy was flipping out, and it's like, because we had all these guys there for this competition. It was myself, Dave's boy Elio, shout out Tony's Place in West Roxbury. We had White Sox Dave and Eddie from Barstool Chicago as a one-man team. Frank the Tank speaks for himself, and then Rico Bosco, absolute animal. He was the fifth guy. So it was a competition where if you hadn't seen, you had 10 grand, and you were going to live bet it any which way you want right when the game started, and whoever had the most money at the end won 50 grand, and whatever else money was left over from the other people. So we couldn't bet the whole first half. It sucked because at 5:15, Dave said, he's like, I don't think this is going to get fixed. And he was flipping out, losing his mind, but he was doing a pretty good job at staying calm. Now what happened was the whole first half, we were just watching the game, kind of complaining that we can't get any bets in. But then the second half, it was fixed. So we reset it. Everyone had the 10 grand. You had to gamble at least 7, so you couldn't just sit on it and hope everyone lost everything. And everyone went crazy. It was like if you'd been in prison forever and it was like your first night out. It was just like, And Elio hit a bet. He hit a bet, Pats to first. Explain this bet to me. Like, I don't remember exactly what the score was. I want to say it was like 24 or 26 to 6, whatever it was. He had a bet, even money, first to 31 points. And obviously he put 6 grand on Tampa, and they got it quick. And so all of a sudden he's up to 16 grand. And everyone kind of started panicking, like, oh, my God, he's got such a big lead. We got to catch up. I had a bunch of bets going that ended up not hitting. My big one was the Tampa getting to 35, which they didn't end up getting to, right? They didn't score again after they got to 31. And I didn't take it down. I got hot on the blackjack table after. That's another story besides the point. It all comes out in the wash. Rico Bosco took it down. Rico was over there. He was quiet. And in the first half, it was unbelievable. Rico, as it's broken, he kept checking. And he was able to get a couple bets in. He kept it quiet. He kind of looked at me at one point. He's like, I got 4 bets in. So everyone all of a sudden is immediately flipping out like, hold on, this doesn't count. People can't get bets in. So it was a little bit of a gong show, but I still had a blast. Talking to Frank the Tank, what an interesting character. For people who don't know, he was found and hired by Barstool when he flipped out on the New Jersey Transit public system because he couldn't get to the Mets home opener. He went absolutely viral. And Barstool hired him. That's kind of how things go. An encyclopedia of knowledge. Just a great guy. I was shooting the shit with him. This dude's a Dolphins, Brooklyn Nets, New Jersey Devil, and New York Mets fan. Explain that to me. What a bunch of shitty teams. Besides the Devils, he's really happy about their 3 titles. Eddie's one of my boys. I love that guy. White Sox Dave is a complete idiot. He really grew on me, though. I kind of hated his guts. Now I love him, but he is so dumb. What else?
Let's say hi to Biz. Biz has been waiting patiently.
No,
that's all right.
I like listen. Hey, so live betting is very difficult, especially when it's in competition form. Like if you had to put like 1 in a quarter or a couple in a quarter.
Exactly.
Now, would you have bet the coin toss? Because I know everybody normally goes tails, but it was heads this year.
I would have bet it, and I usually take tails, but we couldn't do that as part of the competition, so I didn't do that. The hard thing about live betting is that the odds change so quick. So it's like, no joke, like in the matter of a split second, the odd you got is gone. It's off the book. So like you're trying to get a bet in, you can't. You got to restart. It's like It was hectic. It was hectic to stay loose.
I fell asleep. I didn't even get to see the celebration. I got so bored from that game.
Awful game.
I was a little let down with that pass interference call that negated the interception from how do you say the last guy's name who used to play for Bruce Arians? Is it Matthew?
Matthew, yeah.
He was all up in the news.
Yeah, he was all up in Brady's grill. Probably the last thing you want to do to the GOAT. And then he put him in a blender by sending Antonio Brown at him. Didn't he tell him, he's like, I'm coming after you, and then he did it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Waving his finger in his face. Yeah. I mean, you don't. That's one fucking thing you don't poke is Tom Brady. I mean, the guy's already going to beat you anyways. Why fucking further antagonize him?
And I had missed throughout when the regular season matchup. Apparently, Tyreek Hill had done like 2 because did he score 2 touchdowns or something?
But he had 3
They
touchdowns.
repaid him back. They were right in his face last night with the 2. Like Tyreek Hill was kind of invisible. I mean, for such a game breaker, you didn't even notice him. But my takeaway from the game and what I said moving in was like I was taking the Bucs no matter what because I didn't want Brady. I wasn't going to lose money like with Brady winning. I wasn't going to let it happen. But I was like. Their defense is sick.
Yeah,
I mean that pass rush. They got JPP with 7.5 fingers flying around, knocking down balls, and that kid is it White? Who's the stud on D? I can't think of his name right now.
Sure.
I don't know, but Tampa was just Patrick Mahomes is like I've never really seen him look like that, and I guess it wasn't his fault. I said he got exposed, which people argued against because he had no protection.
I felt that was funny every time they snapped it. He'd legit run back to half.
I know.
Or 20, 30 yards. I've seen Russell Wilson have to play games like that too. So it was, hey, how about the one play though when he was running away and he was lateral and then he chucks a dart to the end zone that ended up hitting his receiver right in the mask, which happened a couple times. If anything, I thought that the receivers for KC really let him down. And Travis Kelce was talking after the game, or is it Kelsey?
Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey. He was talking afterward. He goes, they kind of just put a cap on our speed. Like I guess they backed off their defenders to a certain degree where they couldn't gain that speed that they normally do. Like you just mentioned, Tyreek Hill, who's like a video game out there just buzzing around, but he was pretty much invisible.
Yeah, and the overall game, though, it wasn't very exciting. But, like, the fact that Brady has more Super Bowls than any other organization, like, what the fuck? Are you
I just signed up for the TB12 diet this morning. I got all my supplements coming in. Actually, you know who does the TB12 diets is Connor Garland.
Really? And he's on fire?
Oh, he's been buzzing this year. He's far and above. He's been the best player on the ice in the St. Louis. They're playing the St. Louis Blues 6 times in a row.
Is that what it is because of COVID?
Yeah, they had a road trip of 6 games. They were supposed to play 2 in St. Louis, 2 in Minnesota, and then 2 in Colorado. And of course, with Minnesota getting all jammed up, they stayed in St. Louis. They played 2 more, and then I think the next 2 are going to be against St. Louis as well. So they went from a 4-game set against the Golden Knights to a 6-game set against St. Louis. But they've been playing well. I don't know how we got. Because Connor Garland.
Oh, right. And quickly though, some people enjoyed it. That halftime show was the biggest piece of trash show I've ever seen. I couldn't believe it, and I don't really dislike The Weeknd. Like I'm a starfish. That's a sick song. So I think that
it's not
instant meme.
It's not starfish.
Starboy.
You're not a starfish.
I said starfish last night too. I don't know why I got starfish on my mind.
Yeah.
I think because Portnoy sent me a starfish penny like 15 years ago when Barstool just started, so I've always thought starfish. So that's a good song, but that was a horrible performance. I thought it was brutal.
I don't know if I've ever seen something on TV become a meme in such quick real time like that. Like within 5 seconds, people are already like memeing that stuff left and right with him going down the tunnel and shit.
I'm almost convinced they do it for that reason now. I'm convinced that they have certain things that they know is going to go viral, so they're going to get the amount of endorsement out of it, which I think it was brought to you by Pepsi. But I thought it was okay. I personally love when they do rock bands when it gets, I think was he lip singing the whole time?
I don't know. I'm guessing yes, but I actually have no idea.
I thought as far as the overall production of it, I thought it was impressive how he was able to move around and they were like the cameras and the angles and all that. But yeah, I'm not really into his new stuff. He's a Scarborough guy from Canada.
He's a Canadian?
Yeah, The Weeknd's Canadian. So I'm not going to trash him as much as you did. I definitely like his old tunes a lot more than his new tunes. There was a point in his career where he was kind of this dark R&B artist, and I think that a few albums before the latest one that he just dropped. I think he was trying some things out, but then he made the full plunge to pop. And I think that's why he's
more money, maybe.
I just think he realized that that's where he had to bring it. And the last album killed it. He's going to do some crazy 2-year world tour here coming up. I think he just released all the dates, but and then I think that his whole rollout is kind of the playoff of maybe people comparing him to Michael Jackson, and that's why they've been doing the whole bandage thing and the fate. Have you seen his Instagram?
RA loses it if anyone gets compared to Michael Jackson.
Listen, but all right, I'm not saying that he is Michael Jackson, but I'm saying is that I think that all the aesthetics and all the look of it is playing off the comparison, correct?
Hey, if you're gonna steal from the best, the best of pop music, just when you hear that, even anyone's name, I guess, mentioned in the same breath as a guy like Jackson, you're kind of like, all right, wait a minute. I don't know the Weeknd's music. I'm familiar with who he is, but I can't sit there and tell you I'm familiar with all of his music. But Biz, I wanted to ask you, do you think? And I would say this probably for the last couple of years now, that the whole idea of the Super Bowl commercial has lost its luster quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that with what line you can bring it to has changed. And also, I did hear, because of everything that had happened with COVID and the money wasn't there, that the commercials weren't going to be as good this year. That was kind of like a pre-warning. Now, if we're talking about them, what one did you guys think were the best ones?
I didn't see any because you're in a sports book. I could see a couple, but I was kind of on my phone. I didn't. None stood out though. There was at no point was anyone in there like, "Oh, that was a good commercial." Really, nobody said that at any point.
RA, what about you? You must have noticed a couple.
You know what? I kind of pay less and less attention. I think there's just not as huge a deal, especially when they're leaking them a week before, so people are even seeing them before. But the Wayne and Garth one with Cardi B, I was laughing at the commercial, and they're like, "Oh, eat local, eat local." So I'm thinking it's like, this kind of like sort of local thing, and then it's like Uber Eats. I'm like, that's just more like fucking sellout bullshit. Like, and the big thing is, you talk to local companies, mom and pop sub shops, they're getting fucked on all these like services that you pay for to bring your food instead of using the regular delivery guy. So I was kind of like, I liked the commercial. Then I saw the end, I was like, when I saw who it was for, I was just like, I don't know. I'm a big support your local guy. So when you're hiring a
Cardi B was in it.
Yeah, with Wayne's World.
I thought she'd be like, "Eat me, that fucking nut."
She is. I love following her on Instagram and just like seeing the antics that she's up to. I've been. Speaking. Okay, so I mentioned a few pods ago. I love following all this rap, not only the beef but the news or whatever. Little Uzi Vert got a $24 million pink rare diamond installed into the middle of his forehead.
No. like surgically?
Surgically, and apparently if you were to take it out himself, it could lead to some serious problems. But he got a $24 million pink rare diamond installed into the middle of his forehead. Now, I didn't know he was making that much money singing rap tunes, this Little Uzi Vert guy. But apparently he must have some dough. All right, do you know anything about Little Uzi Vert?
Other than he got a diamond put in his forehead last week, I didn't know too much about him before.
Cornelli, you got to help us out with these young bucks. What's happening here?
I think Lil Uzi Vert, RA, was one of those questions I asked you back in the day when we were doing Ask a Millennial. Yes. I'm pretty sure I asked you about Lil Uzi Vert, and you were like, "I have no fucking clue."
Oh, speaking of commercials, Lil Baby, who I'm a big fan of. We talked to the Nate Dogg about him, just because
it was Da Baby.
Is it Da Baby or Lil Baby?
There's two different rappers. Da Baby's one, Lil Baby's the other.
Who's the one that was in the Super Bowl commercial who's popping off right now?
Lil Baby.
We need a Lil Baby to fucking round this thing out.
A lot of Lils.
That's their tour name when they combine.
Wait, I want to ask you, as far as like Brady going down to Tampa, do you think it gets a little weird when people like compare him to like an ex level? Like, oh, this is like watching your ex girlfriend get married. It's like, no, it's not. It's a fucking bad football player going on another team, not someone you used to have like romantic liaisons with, like throwing somebody else.
Like catching.
I think you're taking things a little literal. It's like you're just making like a somewhat comparison to try to compare it to something. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly not like watching like your ex-girl just get like plowed by some dude.
It's actually like watching two of your ex-girlfriends get plowed. Him and Gronk, because Gronk too, who had 2 touchdowns.
If anything, like I'm interested. I mean, I'm not in Boston. I'm sure the sports radio cats are going ridiculously crazy, but I think like Belichick takes a hit to me. Belichick doesn't look as legit to me. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I mean, he's never won a Super Bowl title without Brady. I think without Tom Brady as his QB, he's like 500 all time.
He will.
Yeah,
he will. Don't worry.
I mean, it's like that. That's who's quarterback.
You're so sure of that?
90%.
I am sure of it.
How are you sure of that?
I think he's the greatest football coach of all time.
What does that
arguably the
matter
greatest coach of all time.
If he doesn't have the greatest QB of all time,
I still think he'll do it. That's just my opinion. I think he'll do it.
all right.
Speaking of Gronk, he scored the first touchdown. I know we were texting before the game about the live stuff. You couldn't get in. I said he was 14-1 on the Barstool Sports app. I know other places he was as high as 28-1 if you were lucky to jump on that, but that was an unbelievable payout. Even if he got him, because I think it almost looked like KC forgot about him because he hadn't been a part of the offense really for the last month or so, and then all of a sudden, fucking 2 touchdowns, first TD, boom, nice little catch.
They were hiding them. They weren't showing any. That's why they let them light them up the first time they played this season. Tyreek Hill went off for like 250 yards and 3 TDs. Now, so let me ask you this: do you guys think? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they end up back in the Super Bowl again next year because
that's what I was just gonna say.
So if he wins it next year, okay, and he wins 8 of them, you got to think he's gonna fucking retire, no?
I don't think so. I think he's long said, okay, so before when he was in Boston, he's like, I want to play till 45. I want to play till 45. And then he was talking about, like, I'll be done when I suck. When I'm not really good, I'll be done. So if he keeps winning, and then he mentioned last week that he could see himself playing post 45 now. So if he wins again, like, I don't think he's going anywhere. And you can't hit the quarterbacks anymore.
What if he wins a championship at 50?
It's the rules created for QBs now. I know
that's true. That's true.
It's like
he's gonna have to borrow Johnny Goudreau's cart.
Yeah, they looked bad at one point. I mean, I don't know what their record was through 10 games, but they had to have some crazy odds to win the Super Bowl halfway through the season because they looked pretty shitty. New Orleans pounded them twice. It was like, I didn't really see this coming. They gelled together at the perfect time, and maybe Brady really was pacing.
Does this make him the best athlete of all time?
I think he's undoubtedly the greatest football player of all time. I said greatest athlete in a team sport last night.
QB is probably the most important position in any sport, right? I mean, other team sport.
Yes, I think that goaltending's kind of similar as well as starting pitching, but starting pitching there's 5 guys. So maybe goaltending is a little bit compared to the quarterback, but yes, I'm with you. But my thing on like where he's at, what was I just saying before that? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? What were we just talking about? Brady, winning, continuing to win, longevity.
Their odds halfway through the season.
Their odds halfway through the season. Come on, Ryan.
That they were struggling halfway through the season and they figured it out.
That Belichick's going to win another title and Grinelli was right and you're a moron.
Fuck me, man. This is so annoying when this happens. It's just so frustrating to know you're
Get on the TB12 diet. Get on the TB12 diet. You would have remembered it.
Brady's talking. He's winning. I don't remember. That sucks. You interrupted me. It's your fault.
Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
I'll take the minus.
Biz, you did just mention Johnny Goudreau's name. We'll get this out of the way first. We do have him coming on a little bit. Calgary Flame Johnny Gaudreau, and also recently retired Ryan Callahan. He come on for a nice long chat. We'll be getting to those a little bit later, so we tend to forget to mention those till right before, so I figured you cued me in there.
We won't spoil it, but Johnny Gaudreau's favorite television show just threw me for an absolute loop.
Yeah, I mean, considering he likes it so much that he's wearing the shirt, like I feel like he wears that shirt every night, like before bed. That's the vibe I got from him.
We'll get to that later. We'll
save that a little later. All right, gang. First, now that hockey is back, you're going to have to find your shot. And what better way to do that than with Pink Whitney? From January 1st through March 26th, we are giving Chiclets fans a chance to win a custom Pink Whitney shot machine. All you have to do is post a picture of you in your Pink Whitney and use the hashtags, hashtag Pink Whitney, hashtag Take Your Shot, hashtag Sweepstakes. We will be picking winners from the U.S. and Canada every other week, so make sure you get creative with your submission. Make sure you catch our attention, and we'll be giving these things away. So hopefully you folks will win some shot machines. I don't know. If you're putting in for a shot machine, I'm not sure how much you need one, Biz. You already got one in your house, right?
I do, and there's been some great submissions so far. So keep sending them in, guys. And even for some that don't win the shot machine, Grinelli's going to be on the lookout. We have so many people that have like bought in cases and cases of this stuff. There was one kid who outlined his body in it and had a bunch of posters and basically is just a full-on Pink Whitney superfan. Like a guy like that, if he doesn't win the competition, we're going to send some merch out. So many of you loyal people have been following up for this contest, so we thank you very much. And once again, thank you to everyone for the support on the Pink Whitney side.
Well said, Biz. Well said. All right, we're going to move along to the hockey right about now. The first division we're going to talk about this week is the North Division, and probably the big news out of this, Shea Weber played his 1,000th game. Biz is psyched he's not in the Canadians this week. Shea Weber is in his 16th season. They did a nice pregame ceremony for him. They had his family there. His kids had made signs. They put along the glass, which is a nice little touch. It was a great article. Eric Engels, who covers the Canadians up in Montreal, had a fantastic article at all kinds of praise from his teammates. The Athletic had a nice piece, but let's go to you, Whit, first. He was one of your contemporaries. You played against him.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider him one of my contemporaries, or he would probably puke if he called me one of his contemporaries. But I think that reading the article Eric Engels wrote about him, I think it was with Sportsnet. I know Eric pretty well, really good reporter, and covers the Canadians, and he did a good job. He talked to Ryan Suter, Seth Jones, Ben, is it Sherratt, how you say it? And Roman Josi. All guys had the chance to play with him throughout different points in his career, and they all said the same thing in terms of like how professional he is, how serious he is when the time comes to like do work and be on the ice practice-wise, and then how goofy and how much fun he can have kind of off the ice. He's one of those guys that really turns it on when he's at the rink, which is not surprising at all. But for me, it's like he was able to play the game. I think he's as close to like the way Chara played as any other D-man in the past 15 years, where he's so intimidating physically and he's so dominant with his shot that he really is kind of scares guys before games. I don't mean like they're actually scared to play, but when you go into a building, and especially for forwards, and you think about who you're going to be matched up against, that's a guy. It's like every night those players are like,
fuck.
He's going to finish every single hit. I know maybe his skating's gone down a touch as he gets a little bit older, but in his heyday, like his skating was unreal for how big and strong he was. Lateral movement, he never got beat, and he was the guy that if he pivoted and skated with you along the boards and you threw it to the net or you did a drop pass, it didn't matter. He was the next 3 seconds riding you into the boards, finishing you as hard as you can. And to be that difficult to play against, along with he's got over 100 power play goals, which is, I think, 10th all time. He has over 200 goals. The threat of him shooting, the Weber bomb, here it comes. I told the story. Here comes the Weber bomb. Yeah, whoo, in Nashville. So, like, all you had to do is, and penalty killers, they talked to, Engels talked to Mark on, Edward Vlasic, who partnered up, I believe, in the 2010 and 2014 Olympics with Shea Weber. He took one off his head once. Could have killed him. And he's talking about how scary it was. I mean, you're in front of the net, and like he's winding up. It's absolutely petrifying. Sheldon Surrey, Zdeno Chara, that's the type of shot he had. I mean, I think that the last thing I'll say is to see that guy be a second-round draft pick, and for the Nashville Predators that year to have Ryan Suter in the first round, it was like they really did set up their team, and they didn't get a Stanley Cup, but they came pretty friggin' close getting those two guys in the same draft. So
3
congratulations. What a amazing career, though. I think you're looking at a future Hall of Famer. Would you guys agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No doubt.
Oh, for sure. Just for the for like the international play. Like that would put him over the edge, right? Like, I mean, he hasn't won the Stanley Cup, but just based on his numbers, he hit 1,000 games. I can imagine him playing another 3 or 4 seasons. You mentioned him slowing down a little bit, Whit, but he's just. I completely agree, and that's going to happen. That's inevitable, especially as a guy with a big frame just like that. But it's his work positionally. Like he's not. He's not running around all that. Well, although in the article, Suter did mention, he goes, yeah, like sometimes we'd be taking an odd man rush down, and there'd be a guy coming through the middle, and then all of a sudden, fucking Webb's coming through with his big body, just ending this guy's life. But I think considering the game's changed a little bit, he's still that physical presence, but he stays in position. He is still as reliable as ever. And you mentioned I think he's got more power play He's got more power play goals than regular strength goals, right? Throughout his entire career.
It might be like 105, 100, somewhere around then, where it was just... But he wasn't a guy who you just sit there and just give one-timers to. He'd stop it. He'd make the seam passes. Like, he really could do it all. And when I look back at, or not even look back, if I look right now at that team... I would love to talk to Jeff Petrie, who I got the chance to play with. He's a quiet guy, but you can't tell me the steps he's made in career doesn't have something to do with Shea Weber and learning from him. Because I swear to God, right now Jeff Petrie, I think, is the best defenseman in the NHL throughout the beginning of the season. Hey, let me put
my clown nose on it. Remember I said it might have been a slight overpayment? I think he's got 6 tucks already, and like you said, he's probably one of the best defensemen in the league right now.
Dude, Petrie, when we first saw him, I remember talking to Horkoff in Edmonton, because Petrie's a Michigan State guy where Hork played, and he's like, oh my God, this kid's skating. And now he had the inconsistencies of a younger player, but I knew he was going to be really good. I didn't know he'd be this good, but I bet you he would no doubt say that Shea Weber's really helped him, and it's not just on the ice, it's off the ice things. It's what we say about the best players. Every time we talk about Crosby, Shea Weber, McKinnon, these guys who are Hall of Fame players who have like created legacies for themselves, a lot of it is off ice stuff, and it's like preparation, and it's things that you take for granted as a fan, where you just see somebody show up and be so consistent, you don't really understand what goes into it.
Yeah.
And I think a guy like Shea Weber's probably taught so many other defensemen, including Seth Jones and Roman Josi, what it takes.
Yeah, you can't learn positioning and all the other details of the game at the W Scottsdale, guys. That's for sure.
Yeah, because he has 104 power play goals and 111 at even strength. So that's almost a 1-for-1 ratio. That's pretty high.
That's one of the things that stuck out to me. But just, I like the concept of talking to all the former guys that he's played with in different situations of his career, like when he came in. Did you mention Seth Jones as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
I also forgot. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just kind of alluding to the point that you made about like all these other guys that he's been able to like, I mean, just because of the drafting of Nashville and being surrounded by other young, good stud defensemen where he was able to like help them out. And yeah, just how much being around him has helped other guys.
And I think my most memorable moment, besides the guy yelling Weber bomb for 10 minutes before he scored, of Shea Weber's career is in the 2010 Olympics in Van. I don't remember if they had Russia in the semifinals or the quarterfinals, but they pounded them. They put a shit kicking on Russia. He shot one through the net. So it's like literally, blatantly, it was just a straight up rocket through the net. And in Engel's article, it also talks about Seth Jones was skating with him in the summer and put a picture out that he put one through the boards.
Oh, yeah, I saw that
He missed the net, and he put one through the boards. The boards are hard.
I think that was the Nashville practice rink, though. That place is a bit of a
partner built the boards.
Yeah.
And Eric Engels works for Rogers Sportsnet. So if you're not following him on Twitter and you like to follow Canadian stuff, you can't do much better than him.
He's right in depth with the Canadians. He knows it all.
No doubt about it.
How about the job that Bergervan has done? Did we talk about that last podcast?
Yeah,
I think we've slowly just tried to ignore the fact that I picked them not to make the playoffs. Right away, I said that was a huge mistake, and the Washington one is coming back to.
Well, although they got to find someone to stop the puck right now. They had a tough one the other night against Philly. I'll let you take it over, RA.
Yeah, we'll get to that
in the North
division a little bit. Montreal went 3-1 this week. They swept Vancouver, then split with Ottawa, which allowed them to keep pace with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are currently leading the division with 19 points after 12 games played. They beat the snot out of Vancouver twice this week, outscored them 12-4. Jason Spezza got his first hat trick in almost 5 years, the second oldest Leaf in franchise history to get a hat trick. Austin Matthews tearing it up, 10 goals, 4 assists in 11 games. We had a nice tilt. Wayne Simmons and Jordy Ben went at it. Simmons absolutely drilled Quinn Hughes late in the game, 7-3 game. I didn't think it was a penalty-worthy hit, but you got to like Jordy Ben stuck up for his teammate, had a nice, good scrap late. Simmons got 5 goals himself, and G just texted me he's actually broke his wrist. I'm not sure if it was from that fight. He's going to be out. He's going to be out for 6 weeks.
No, so you're talking about Simmons?
Yeah, Wayne Simmons.
So it wasn't from the fight.
No, it was somebody. I don't know which defenseman it was, but they tried to clear the puck out, and it just hit him right in the wrist, and then he went back to the bench. And unfortunate, man, because he was playing out of his mind. I don't know if you guys saw that roof job he did in tight,
short side.
Him, not only the physicality that he brings, but having that net front presence that we talked about. We were stroking Horquist off last podcast. Simmons is, man, he has done such a job coming in for Toronto, and to see him go down for 6 weeks to the wrist. So they got Jumbo out now, and now him. But going back to that fight, so Vancouver fans were pissed because it was late in the game and the score was out of hand. But I'm not looking at it like that from a fan perspective. I'm saying you're playing against these other Canadian teams so much. I believe they're playing Vancouver 9 times. You have to invest from the minute it's a cage match.
Make your life hell.
I'm going to make your life hell every time we play you. And if he's taking clean runs, and people would argue that it wasn't a clean hit. I thought it was clean. If all of a sudden Quinn Hughes is a little bit banged up, well, that's probably their fucking best player. And if you're doing it legally, and I like the fact that Jordy didn't hesitate. He got right in there. Probably not the best start to the fight, but he did come around. And I loved when he did get those. I think it was his left's free. Simmons had he put up the blocker.
Like Rick Rippon used to. Rest in peace. Remember that?
Yes, he did. Exactly. So some great defense there, and overall just a very intense match. So Toronto looks unreal. That move that Matthews did coming over the line, working that guy's triangle and then going roof job, they are rolling. And after I mentioned Vancouver last week, and I kind of gave them a pat on the back, they've been getting dummied.
They suck.
They stink.
They suck. And, like, I don't know what you do because, like, do you try to make a trade? Like, getting into Canada is so hard. Then it's the 2-week quarantine. You see Dubois still hasn't played for Winnipeg, although I think he's going to be playing Thursday night or Tuesday night, maybe tonight as you're listening. It's going to be difficult. Like, you're definitely not getting rid of Travis Green after what he did last year. But I said, that's one of the things I did have right. I thought Vancouver would take a step back. And losing Markstrom, and I knew that was a step back in goaltending. I didn't think they'd be like this. And I know Pettersson's probably not on the top of his game, and JT Miller's been catching a lot of heat. And you never really know what players are going through off ice. You just never can tell in terms of like why a guy's struggling, why a team is struggling. But it's shitty times in Vancouver right now. All they can hope for is they get to play Ottawa more.
No, you only get 9. You only get 9, Whit. You can't add more to the schedule from Ottawa.
They're like, can we play Ottawa 15 times?
They're going to be playing. They're going to be playing each other not to get relegated at this point. I mean, but let's put it this way: Vancouver does have a lot of weapons in the lineup to where things can change very quickly. But so far, it has. And another one they got rid of was Tanev, and they replaced them with Schmidt. But they have not been able to gel as a group yet.
It was a brutal week for them. They lost 4 straight to Montreal and Toronto. They get pummeled. They've given up 60 goals against. It's the most in the league. That's 8 more than the second worst team. They've allowed 5 or more in 9 of 15 games. They're just a mess right now, discombobulated. I don't think it's a coaching issue. I don't know if it's just too much personnel that they're trying to incorporate. But I guess the good news is, Biz, is as bad as it's been, they're tied with Edmonton for the 4th spot in the division. So if they can sort of get through this hump here, however long it lasts, and still be within striking distance, then it's not the worst thing. Obviously, you don't want to go through it, but if you can get through it and still be in punching distance of the playoffs, then
fair.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
All right, a couple other notes in the division here. Winnipeg's Connor Hellebuyck, he is now the winningest goaltender in franchise history with 153 wins. And just to clarify, that's Atlanta Thrashers, Winnipeg Jets history. I know sometimes people like to do all Winnipeg of fucking 6 different versions of the team, but no, this is a franchise record, 153 wins. And you just mentioned Pierre-Luc Dubois. He did practice Sunday. Maurice right now has him penciled in, centering the third line with Kyle Connor and Trevor Lewis. And we got some quotes from Andrew Kopp, too. He was pretty unhappy about the protocols because all the COVID stuff, we'll get to another division later, but it's been a cluster chuck. They've had to postpone a bunch of games, and apparently they switched the protocol. The players can't arrive until an hour and 45 minutes before the game time. And
really?
Andrew Kopp was saying, like, what difference does it make? I mean, guys are just getting in the building. Biz, how much does that throw a guy off? His whole pregame.
I'll tell you what. I'll throw it to the healthy scratch first. I would have been okay with that because I would have just been dumping one of my fucking belly button in my room before I headed over the rink. But most guys who were like for sure going to be in the lineup were getting there 2.5 hours before. Guys like to get there early. They like to get their tick staped.
Their tick staped.
Jesus. Did my brain just click out there? What happened?
I like Tick Stape. I really do.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me of Stapleton. I love that guy. Tick Stape. That's what I'm going to start. I'm going to say, Rowdy, you got to tick your Stape.
They like to enjoy a nice cold brew in their stall and mix up their protein shakes or their in-between period shakes. And, yeah, I think some of these rules have just left me scratching my head because you saw the Washington and how they got pigeon-tossed, the 4 guys. And then you see the Tampa Bay Lightning guys all celebrating in a room together where they got to watch Super Bowl. So it's
Is it because they had a mask on? It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Dude. But you know what? Since this whole thing began, you've seen rules, not even in hockey and life, that make nothing really makes sense anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to close the restaurants at 9:30 because at 9:31 the COVID monster comes out. It's like there's things that do not make sense and there's no explanation. And it's the same with the NHL right now.
Yeah.
So people are all over the league and how it's like, they've had to rearrange like 30 games or whatever it is. But you knew this was bound to happen. With travel.
All right. Did they give a reason as to why they want that happening, or they just kind of made the rule?
No, well, they've changed all the protocols because they've had so many people enter COVID protocol. And by the way, just because you've been on the protocol list doesn't mean you have it. You just might have been around somebody or around somebody who was around somebody. So they're just trying to do some tinkering and I guess reduce the amount of time that these guys are around each other, and that was one of the things they brought up. But again, like what said before, okay, you're getting there an hour later, but now you're just drooling and fucking bumping into the same guys you avoided for an hour. So I don't know. I guess it's just kind of keeping in the theme with this whole thing for going on a year now, and there's no right answers, and people are second guessing things going on, but.
Shout out to one of the biggest piece of shit losers I've ever been on an airplane with. So I was supposed to fly private with Portnoy, and then that motherfucker didn't even go to Tampa, so I had to fly Roach class, row 33, there and back from Detroit. And on the way there, this asshole, he was sitting 2 rows behind me. He was like 25 years old. He's like, miss, so what are the rules with the mask? She's like, you have to wear the mask unless you're eating. He's like, so, like, if I have a coffee, do I have to take the mask off for every sip? Or while I'm having the coffee, can the mask remain off the entire time? She's like, I'd recommend if you could just, take it off for each sip. He's like, that is ridiculous. So you're sitting here and you're expecting me to have a coffee and put my mask on, not take a sip. Take it off, take a sip. This is a joke. And this guy next to me is like, shut up, dude. And he's like, oh, yeah, like this guy, like, you know all the rules. I was just like, oh, my God, like, this is why I don't sit Roach class. It was like such a pigeon, such an asshole, making this, like, flight attendant who's so nice, just doing her job, like, just be so awkward. I was like, I hate this kid.
I'd be in the next row over picking my toe jam barefoot. I'm the asshole
putting your toes in his face.
I got my yoga mat out in the hall in the aisleway as the plane's taking off.
He had like Birkenstocks on too. I hated him.
Hey, I got Birkenstocks.
Yeah, I know. Explains a lot.
People who do that to people just trying to work or do their job, assholes, dude.
And I swear to God, he was doing it. He was doing it like to be funny to himself.
Yeah.
Or maybe he thought other people, and everyone was just like, oh, you're the worst of the worst of the worst, you toe jam fuck.
You're an asshole, you're a fucking
How do we get... so last thing about the hockey side of it. So I think it was at the United Center, they removed the glass behind the bench so the airflow would...
Yeah, that was another thing they did too, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean...
Sorry, though...
let's play with no glass.
I don't want to leave the Northern Division. I know we got to move on quickly, but were we ready to move on, or are we still going to talk a little bit?
We can rip on Ottawa if you guys want.
Okay, well, listen. So Edmonton plays Ottawa tonight. It's at Ottawa, so good luck, Ottawa. You got to get a W. But I wanted to mention in the Battle of Alberta the other night, the first of 9 this year, McDavid and Draisaitl played the last 5 minutes and 45 seconds of the game. NHL shift data, it's not like perfect, but it I think it came out in 97, 98. It's the longest shift since they started keeping track of shifts. Like, it's just insane to think that those guys were able to play that long. And the crazy thing about McDavid is he enters the game this evening, or last night as you're listening on a Tuesday, with 2 points or more in the last 7 straight games. He's done it. He got to 8 once in 2019. Gretzky has done that. He did that with Edmonton 12 different times. One of them was a 16-game stretch. He had 50 points. In 85-86. So I was kind of blown away by that. But McDavid, he's just been doing it. We said last time, you got to talk about him every time.
Sometimes we need to take a little break after hearing those just to digest how ridiculous.
50 points in 16 games.
Yeah.
And good luck, Ottawa, because I keep thinking that you're going to listen to this before the game. Let's see how it went last night, because already they both Draisaitl and McDavid both have 7 points in 2 games against them.
That's these two guys are nuts.
Yeah, Edmonton won Saturday night 6-4, first of the many battles of Alberta this year. We got the T-shirts there. I see Biz has his on.
Yeah,
if you are buying too, by the way, I know our shipping rates to Canada are a little pricey.
I mean,
we don't set. I think if you buy more, you get more bang for your shipping value. But no, really,
I think $150. If you can kind of put together an order with some buddies, you won't pay for the shipping.
I think that was the first game that Calgary played with their reverse retros too.
Yeah, Biz, it was, and it's old Blasty. They call him Blasty. That horse just blasting out flames out of his snout. So I love those. I love the look of those. Goudreau scored that beauty coming down the wing, bar down. So that was a big win for Calgary.
300 pounds of pure meat coming down the wing, as a memes sent out on Twitter. But what more could you ask for? 6-4 game. There was some chippiness. You saw Tkachuk get in the mix a little bit. Great entertaining game for our Albertans.
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 And hockey fans everywhere. Yeah, 5 minute and 45 second shift. That's unheard of. And NHL.com actually has a pretty cool graph you can look at, and they actually have it all measured out so you can, chat a guy's shifts during the game. But we got, 8, 9 more of those, man? I'm sure we're going to see some blood before the next 2 or 3. But, Whit, you just mentioned something about looking good. I know you had a little more for us about looking good on the golf course.
Yeah, guys, I'm here to talk to you right now about G4. And for people who don't know about G4, you're missing out big time. It's I'm going to say it's not necessarily a new brand, but it's a golf brand that make not only great gear, but they make gear that doesn't have to just be used on the golf course. And right now, what's really special is their MG 4.1 crossover shoe. You can golf in it, but it's also great for a workout shoe or an everyday shoe. It has nubs in the footbed, so you get an all-day massage. That's no joke for people with bad feet like me. And it's made with a knit material, so it's super breathable and comfortable. You can't get enough of this shoe. I promise you, it's so comfy. Biz had it sent to him at his place when we were out there in Scottsdale. Check it out on their site with some other of their favorite products from them by visiting g4.com/chiclets. I promise you will not regret it. It's an awesome crossover shoe that's, I think, nice for guys who maybe want to get some errands done before they go to the range. So you don't have to bring 2 pairs of shoes, your golf shoes, your other shoes. You can just wear these. You can wear them out and not look like a fool at the post office, and you can get to the range and stripe it around with them. So G4, like I said, .com/chiclets. Check it out now. 10% off your first order. So shout out to G4 for making some sick gear.
When we golfed with Ray Whitney in Scottsdale, I had the same ones on because they sent a few pairs out, and he had a different color on, and he said they're the comfiest golf shoe he's ever worn. And if Ray Whitney's telling you that, he's a scratch golfer. I recommend checking them out. And they even have the classic looking ones that are a little bit more old school. What would you call those ones, Whit? The old
just
school.
Old school. I like that. And I don't know the exact name for G4s, but like I said, all day massage on your feet. Yeah. So Robert Kraft would love them too. It's just a perfect shoe.
Little rubber nubs.
All right, gang. And now, without further ado, we're going to send it over to Johnny Hockey, Johnny Goudreau. Well, it's been a while since we had this Calgary Flame on the show. His first time was way back on episode 38 in July of 2017, way before Biz. Since that appearance, he's put up 252 points in 242 games. A little Chiclets bump action for you. He's got 11 points in 10 games so far this season. Some know him as Johnny Hockey, others know him by Johnny Ham and Cheese, whatever you call him. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Johnny Goudreau. How you been, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to this.
It's our pleasure. Last time we did it was almost 4 years ago. We were just saying, my living room in Salty, you come by with Hazy. You had a couple cocktails for your first time on Chick. That's a little different this time.
Yeah, no, that was a lot. That was a long time ago, but it was just me and Hazy, and then I didn't know where he was bringing me. He kind of just brought me in the south into this house, and I didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was doing. So
getting carded left and right.
But it turned out it was cool. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time that night, and excited to be back.
I think when you guys got in, Hazy grabbed me. He's like, dude, he thought we were just going to dinner, and he didn't even know we were doing this, so you're welcome.
Yeah, bro, I don't know what we were doing down there. We had a blast, though. We went out to dinner after. It was a good time.
Yeah, we went to Lincoln. All right, so we got to get one thing out of the way quick, and that is the Biz rumor that you were a fat slob. Like, did you hear this go down? Did you hear rumblings, or were you just clueless the entire time?
No, I heard a little bit. A few of my buddies sent me a few things, and then my GM Tree knows Biz pretty well, I guess.
He texted me. He was not happy. He was not happy about me starting the Johnny Goudreau's got a gut in the reboot bubble here.
Yeah, so I think like a reporter came out and said it was right before the bubble. I came out of shape, and I think it was because I was close contact with someone with COVID, so I was with a different group. So then we got taken away from the main group, and then I guess they thought I needed a little bit more conditioning, and then I saw this fat Johnny rolling around with a scooter on Instagram all over.
That was not me. That was memes who did that. So you can't blame me for that one.
You texted him to tell him to do it.
Oh, well, no, time out. I texted him to do it and superimpose it onto your shootout move the other night against Winnipeg, which was.
I saw it again. I was like, what's going on? How's this popping up again?
This time it was in a positive mind frame. So I don't mean to throw. But you've had a pretty hot start to the season. You've been probably their best player so far. Yeah.
It came out. Played pretty well at the start of the year. Our team's not doing too well right now. I got to get out of this little funk, but we're playing against good teams. I've played against Winnipeg 3 times in a row, and it kind of gets frustrating playing the same team over and over again. But, it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. So we've been having fun.
I think that we've had Tkachuk on a couple times since the last time you were on, and it must be so interesting playing with him because he'll come out of games when he blatantly did something and be like, I didn't do anything wrong, but you guys must just almost laugh in a sense, like, Bud, you just fell into the goalie on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories where to start with Chucky. I mean, I just half the time I just expect it's like another scrum or something, but like the other night we playing against Toronto, and we all skating back to the bench after the game was over, and I had no clue what the hell happened with Muzzin and him, and he was freaking out. I'm just like, all right, it's another scrum for Chucky, I guess. And I didn't see him shoot the puck at him, and then he was going bananas, and I was like, we just lost. Like, why are you freaking out right now? And I guess I didn't see that happen, so he got a little heated about that. But
you must have kind of noticed when he came in, though, that you were going to have a guy that really like got the juices flowing in the game, whether it was good for him or bad. It was a player immediately who I think makes you guys like tougher to play against, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a guy you want on your team for sure. I mean, he's a smart player. He's got a great shot. He can see the ice, really well with the best of us and best of them. And he's on our power play. He's great in net front. And then when you need him to, get physical and stuff, he's right there. He's mixing it in with the big boys, and he's just an all-around, great player, and, we're really lucky to have him. So it's been great. He's actually lives right at floor underneath me right now, so I should have just texted him to come up and say hello on the call. But, he's just a great player, great person to be around.
What was the feeling in the locker room afterward, and when he explained to you guys what Muzzin had done? Were you guys, as a team, a little bit pissed off?
Well, we didn't find out till like we watched SportsCenter, because he was in the locker room. He was still pissed off, like really heated in the locker room. I was like, what? It's game 4. Like, relax. We got a lot more games against these guys. Like,
he's got a short wick, eh?
You'll get your chance back at him. Like, it's all right. But we saw on SportsCenter, we're like, you could see all 5 of us were skating off to go to the bench, and none of us saw it. We felt bad, but we play Toronto soon, so I'm sure he'll get him back. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
How are you digging these mini-series so far? Like you said, you already played Winnipeg 4 times your first 10 games. How long does it take for that hate to kick in? I guess with Matthew on your team, it takes a period or 2, but with other teams, is it the same way? With
some teams, it's a little different, but I mean, obviously you play against a team, back to back to back. I mean, it's going to get a little frustrating a little bit at times, but for me personally, I mean, I kind of like it, less flying. I hate flying, and enjoy just playing these guys, 3 times in a row, get it out of the way. But, some of these guys, these, big guys like the hit and stuff, forces and stuff, and guys like that, I would I bet it gets a little tiring at times, but, it's, I'm sure it's a lot of fun for the fans too.
You said you hate flying. Do you hate it because you don't like flying, or you just hate the traveling aspect?
Because I hate flying. I'm like,
oh, really? You're like Teemu Solani.
Yeah, I hate it. Me and Monahan are awful with it. Every
really
every takeoff.
You guys sit next to each other and kind of console each other before you take off?
Oh, well, we're on the card table, me and Monty, and we have to like stop playing cards for a little bit, and like first 2 minutes of the flight before we take off, just like put our heads down and like just like take some deep breaths and try to get through this first 2-3 minutes of the flight. But because we always fly out of Calgary, it's always bumpy, and it's windy and snowing and clouds everywhere, so it's an awful place to fly in and out of in the first place. But every flight is turbulence, bumping and everything. So
maybe they'll start busing you. Just start busing.
Yeah, me and Monty were talking about buying an RV and just traveling.
Family truck stuff.
Yeah,
they're splitting a Xanax with their like full-game meal on the way to Edmonton.
I was thinking the opposite. Them in like an old Volkswagen Beetle, like hippies, braid, hey, getting the dreadlocks going, washing your clothes outside. Hey, that's what we had Brent Burns on, and for many summers he would just go in an RV with his wife and their kids, and he would have the weights on the bottom. He would pull them out. He'd work out at like a 7-Eleven, go grab a Gatorade, and then back on the road.
Kids, time to feed the python. What do you play on the plane, Johnny, for cards?
We play a little bit of Chicago. We play Euchre, play 13 up, 13 down. We play Super Talk.
Never any poker? Like, is that just... I was only on one team that played Hold'em.
We played a little bit. We played a little bit of poker this year. We still don't have chips, so
chips are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, true.
They're a pain, so we'll just grab a ton of we have a ton of gummy bears on the flights, and we'll just pour them onto the table, and we'll all get 20 gummy bears, and we'll just use those as chips.
Oh yeah.
Then they're like, don't eat those ones. Do not eat the red ones.
Hey, you all come by and we'll just be like, hey, here's a couple, gummy bears, G. Throw them in the mouth, but
yeah, the Haribo Sugar Freeze. I don't know if you've ever heard the
Deuce City. Yeah,
there was not an ad, but a review online, Johnny. This Haribo Sugar Freeze. Apparently, they run right through you, and you will just be painting the bowl with liquid shit all night.
Yeah, in and out like a fiddler's elbow.
Don't be handing out the Haribo Sugar Freeze unless you're doing it to the other locker room.
The locker room. Oh my God.
So, Johnny, I want to ask, what the hell are they doing? The question there. Yeah, you guys, the team is largely intact from last season. You brought in Markstrom to shore up the crease a little bit. Is it just a matter of you guys still kind of working out the kinks of a new season, or is it just the competition's a little better right now?
No, I think we're just kind of working out the kinks. I think, we had a short training camp, no exhibition games. We have a lot of new guys, about 4, 5, 6 new guys that play forward. So the lines are kind of mixed up and everything. So it's been a little difficult to start, but, hopefully, we play every other night. So, we need to figure it out quickly because of the shortened season. So that's something that we need to, figure out pretty quickly. But
we talked to Charlie McAvoy, I think it was last week, and I don't know how it ended up coming up, but the iguana wrestling came up. Some people on this podcast call it Yugini wrestling. Do you have any experience at World Championships with the iguana wrestling?
Yeah, me and Larks. Jeez.
So you're legit at this.
You're taking on Larks.
Yeah, me and Larks, we would do it 3, 4, 5 times a night, and we would wake up and I'd need 4 or 5 Tylenol before I could go practice or anything. Your neck is just so messed up, and I'm pretty sure Larks had to bandage up his knees from just the ground and being dragged on the ground and stuff.
Who took those down? Who was it? Was it split?
I was good in the beginning, and then Larks kind of got adjusted and he started dragging me pretty good. So I kind of stopped playing against him. And Noah Hannafin's uncle came to the World Championships with us too, and he's this big guy, 210, 220. And I was just dragging him and just smoking him. He couldn't beat me. I beat him 6, 7 times at World Championships. He was so mad. And
what was your technique?
Johnny had 53 matches throughout the 10 days.
I did so many iguana wrestles, and my neck was just I was so bad for you. So I had to stop doing that. But, it was just stupid, but it was a lot of fun, man.
It looked like Brock Lesnar by the end of it.
Yeah, I would I don't know. I would try to play against everyone on our team. Like, you want a match? You want a match? Let's go. You want a match? But me and
everyone's like, Johnny, no, dude, you have a neck brace on. Enough.
Well, yeah, McAvoy said it was all technique and leverage. So you must have figured out a little glitch somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta get down pretty low, and you can't let your neck slide down or the belt will fly off and you'll lose. You gotta keep your head up. But I caught Larks cheating a couple times with his feet behind chair stool.
Leveraging
Defend yourself, Larkin. Get on here.
Yeah. So he's I caught him with the back of his foot and the behind chair, so I couldn't pull him, and he could use that leverage to pull me with me. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but he's still beating me a lot, but I gave him a couple good.
Johnny had ankle weights all up his leg under his tracksuit just so you couldn't move him.
And now he doesn't need him because he has cankles, Bills, because he's a fatso.
He attached his feet to his cart that he buzzes around the ice with.
Cutting the line at Disney World.
Hey, was Larks your age? Is he you guys same year?
No, he's I think he's a 95 maybe, or maybe 94, 95, 96. One of those.
So growing up, and it's a lot's been made. Not a lot, but you're a smaller guy. So you were a 4th round pick. You hadn't played a year at college. who were the best players in the country your age? Like, if you weren't considered one of them, like, who was at that time? Any of those guys in the NHL now?
I always remember Grimaldi being like the
and
guy.
He was small too, or he is small.
He was a small guy too. I think he got drafted second round, but he was always like, the guy that was the player that like everyone like knew about, who's going to tear it up and everything. So, but going back, I don't remember.
Yeah, not a great year.
I remember his name though. I always remembered his name, and he got drafted the second round. So I'm pretty sure people thought he was going to go the first round because of his size. He went second round, but I think he still plays somewhere. I'm pretty sure, but good little player.
When you were picked in the fourth round, like, was that kind of what you expected? It was the year in the USHL where you lit it up, but was that kind of what you were thinking going in?
No, I didn't think I was going to get drafted at all, to be honest. I thought I was going to go to college and, play 4 years there and have some fun with Hazy and then kind of
go back to the shore.
Go back to Jersey Shore, and rip it up there. But no, honestly, I got drafted. I went to a couple of their development camps, and they said I was doing well there, and went to college, kind of played well my first year, and then the second year played well, and third year me, Hazy, and Arnold got together and kind of just tore it up, and that was a lot of fun. And then signed, and then kind of, was very fortunate. I got played on the team. I think the Flames were 30th the year before that, so I kind of went into the team. I don't think they were expecting much out of the team, and made the team, and then we made the playoffs that year too and went to the second round. So it's pretty cool.
So I keep hearing about this signing bonus check story that you told them the first top pod you were on. Yeah. So you just mentioned when you signed. Can I hear this? Yeah,
you can hear it. It was me and Billy Arnold. We played one game and we got our signing bonus checks, and I was still using my parents' like debit card in college, $300 a month. And I mean, you spend it on food. You don't want to eat at the dorms. You try to go to like Chipotle and go out to eat and stuff. So you don't really have much for like beer or anything or stuff like that. So I got bonus check, and I wanted to, like treat the guys. I wanted to take all my classmates out to dinner and stuff. So I went to like some ATM and just put the check right into the ATM and spit all the $97,000 into the debit card, onto the one debit card. And I was just, I don't know, I was like 18, 19 or 20. I was like, didn't know what I was doing, and took the boys out to dinner and had a good time there. And I probably spent the rest of it at some point, or the rest of the month. But yeah, that's the story.
You were letting it fly when you first got the money?
Yeah, I mean, I went back to school and played in the NHL. I scored a goal, and I was with my teammates. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!"
Bought an Escalade on a debit card.
His agent was like, "Johnny, you spent $10,000 on ATM fees this month. you gotta do something about this."
Yeah. Shit. The boys to sushi, still brought a sub for himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to ask him. Of course, the ham and cheese stuff, that's the legendary story. You showed up to a sushi joint, you brought your own ham and cheese. Have you tried sushi since then? And if so, how'd you like it?
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot more now. I like the spicy tuna.
Good stuff.
That's pretty much all I really like, but I'll crush that.
Hey, that's growing though. Before it was nothing.
Yeah, I know. I remember Hazy took me to Quincy, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not eating this. There's no chance I'm eating anything in this place.
Little California roll. That's your extent of your sushi knowledge.
Yeah, there was a little pizza shop right across the street. I was like, Kev, just give me like a ham and cheese sandwich or something. Like, I'm not eating this fish.
Not a seafood guy at all. Was it just the sushi aspect?
No,
I mean, you're Italian kid from Jersey. That's usually a seafood place.
I'm more Italian, like Italian food and stuff. But I've definitely gotten a lot better. But I was in college, and that's all I ate. I was just like ham sandwiches and meatball subs and pasta. So never really ventured out to the sushi. But
what was your kind of reaction to seeing Luch grab a beer mug by his teeth and just crush the whole thing in 3 seconds for the first time? What an animal.
Yeah, that guy is crazy. And, I don't know how he does it. It's the thickest glass ever. I couldn't even hold it with my teeth in an empty glass, let alone chug the whole beer. It's just one of the most impressive things I've seen, and he can do it over and over and over and over and over again throughout the whole night. It's like 7 of them done. And I'm just like, wow, this guy's nuts. Like, I don't know how he's doing this. The glasses are heavy too. Like, it's crazy. Just like grabs some of his teeth, just right down the hatchet and just drops it down with his teeth also. Doesn't use any of his hands.
Then he looks over at you. You're just like, oh my God.
Like, shit, this guy's nuts.
Johnny, last season, I'd say, was probably the first time the media or fans were particularly harsh on you in your career. Did that suck, or does it suck, or does it something that even register you at this point now that you get some years in the league?
No, I definitely I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think it was my first time ever really being criticized for anything, really. So, especially with hockey. So, I know how passionate, Canadians are about their hockey. So, that's what makes it cool to play in a market like this. So, I kind of looked at it both ways as like, it kind of sucks, but, make the most of it, try to play well, and hopefully, they won't be too pissed about the playoffs. And I had a good summer or off season or whatever you want to call it, and came back and felt really good to start the year, and, playing well right now. So, but that was, a first for me, first time ever, really taking a little bit of heat for, hockey.
The thing is it'll be a hell of a career if it continues on. And the year you got ripped on, you were just 12 games below a point per game. It's like when the expectations are so high, you look at, you're like, Jesus, season wasn't that bad. But this summer, you say you had a good summer. Was it difference in training? Are you a guy that's on the ice a lot? Like, how did that all go down when the off season did finally come?
No, I did a decent amount of training. I did a lot of like skill work in the summer. I did a lot of like 3-on-3 at my dad's rink down in South Jersey. They have a smaller ice rink. So I would just do all my skates on there and invite like 6, 7, 8 guys on the ice, and we just do 3-on-3 on the small ice, and we just do it for like an hour, and we play like 2-3 times a week, and we do that like all the time, and worked out before and after them. Not before and after them, but like worked out as much as I could. And but it was important, I kind of, like I said, I never really took that much heat for anything to do with hockey, so kind of took it, a little bit to heart, and I tried to, make sure I came out, pretty, have a good start to the season and try to help this team win games. And because I know, it's a fun city to play in. They're so passionate about their hockey, and it's a lot of fun playing here. So, I just want to, play well and hopefully keep them happy.
Going back to last year, is it a case of like, you just, especially as an offensive player, there's, you have this pressure to put up points where maybe you're just in this rhythm where, things aren't going well? Or is it a case of maybe you feel like you didn't come in as prepared?
It was last season. So I didn't come in not prepared. We ended up firing Bill Peters. He was 6-7 games into the season, and we didn't know if we were getting a new coach. We didn't know if we were going to have the assistant coach become the interim coach. And then we changed up a few things, and we changed up some lines and stuff. And it was just a bit of a hectic year. And then COVID happened. So I was starting to play well as COVID started to, get crazy. And towards the second half of the year, I kind of, started picking it up, playing a lot better. But I think it was just, with all that stuff going on, it was just this crazy year. And, I don't know. I'll just blame it on that kind of, I guess. I mean,
no, that's fair.
I came in prepared. I never not come in prepared. I always have, a good off season. I always, skate as much as I can. I'll start skating like 3-4 weeks after I'm done my season in Calgary. I'll skate for 3-4 months in the summer if I have to. And I always go to the World Championships. I love playing in those. I just love being on the ice. So to be honest, I'm never not prepared to come in for the year. It's just crazy year, and sometimes it doesn't go your way, I guess.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Are you? I always like asking like the top players in the league. I feel like some guys don't watch any hockey, and some every night are tuning in. What's your kind of off nights like? Not that there's a lot of them this season, but are you staying up to date watching games, or are you just kind of in your own world?
No, I try not to watch as much hockey. I mean, we're pretty much playing every other night. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like when I have some downtime, I'm playing Xbox. I'm watching golf right now. Like,
need a break.
If Hazy's on, I'll probably watch him. Watch him. I love watching him. He's playing well this year too. So
yeah, he is.
But I try to just stay away from the hockey when I have time to do it during the season, because it gets pretty hectic, especially this year. So
Was that something that came naturally to you, where you could just leave everything at the rink and when you get home, shut your brain off? Because like you talk to guys throughout your career, especially when they're going through, criticism and stuff. It's hard to like avoid the thinking of it. Just like you're at home and it pops in your head or something.
Oh yeah. I mean, last year was difficult. I mean, anytime I go on Twitter or anything, it was something. It was something about last game that I played like shit or something like that. So I try to just stay away from that too. But this year, I mean, I just go to the rink. I enjoy being around my teammates. We have a really good group of guys. I love all of them. They're really fun to hang out with and be on the ice with. We got like 5-6 Americans, which is awesome too. So that's always great to have in Canada. And just come home and just relax, I guess. And try not to put too much stress on myself, just relax and have a good dinner and, I don't know.
Chill.
You actually have Johnny Hockey trademarked, right?
I do. I did it when I was in my second year because I guess some kids must have been Boston because of BC, but we're writing like Johnny effing hockey and like putting my name and like different like curse words and stuff. And my agent's like, just, you don't need all that crap. So, we just trademarked it, and I don't think I've used it for anything really. But
I was going to say you did it more for protective reasons, so other people can't exploit it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to, something to come out where maybe I'm a part of it or not. So we just did that and never did anything with it. But honestly, I didn't think the name would really stick still to this day. But it's kind of cool.
Until Biz gets a trademark on Johnny Ham and Cheese and spreads rumors about you so he can profit off it.
No, I'll make that the gossip website. That's where we post all the rumors.
That T-shirt's awesome. I love that T-shirt.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a few. The Americans on your team, the Olympics coming up next year, just with the way the USA hockey's on the rise for sure. I mean, they just won the World Junior Championship and they're closing the gap. You guys, does that conversation come up in the locker room?
Honestly, no, we haven't talked about the Olympics at all, to be honest. I mean, we don't even know if like
that's going to be sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be awesome. Hopefully, I'm able to be a part of that because that would be a really, really cool experience. But, You don't
think you're going to make the team, Johnny?
You never know anymore.
Hey, stay humble, dude. That's the South Jersey. That's the South Jersey in you is the humbleness.
I was going to say, trademark Johnny Humble.
But no, we haven't really talked about it at all. To be honest, like we don't even know if we're playing the next day with COVID. I mean, everything going on. We're just taking day by day, and it's just crazy right now. So obviously, hopefully COVID gets better, and you can actually like look forward to it. Maybe actually 100% happening, but like, I mean, if it happens, and I get to be part of that Team USA, that'd be a really cool experience. It'd be awesome. So.
You and Hazy text every day during the season, every other day? How's that work?
Yeah, a good amount. Yeah, we talk a good amount.
Now you guys are both wifed up, so it's like before it was just you two. Like now you got to talk to your girls. It's different.
I know. It's been a long time since college. I mean, we've grown up a lot. So me and Kevin. So we just a good person, good friend, and he's actually in my wedding, so I'm looking forward to that. For him to be there, and so it's gonna be a good time.
Speaking of friends,
I think. Oh, sorry. All right, 1 second.
Yeah.
He told me you were building a spot or got a spot on the shore. That's where you're gonna spend your off seasons.
Yeah, I have a house in Avalon, New Jersey, in Jersey Shore.
That's nice.
Sick.
Like right on the bay. Like 4 blocks from the ocean, and then I have my backyard's like right on the bay, so I got a boat, a couple of jet skis.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Flames colored jet skis.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great spot. I love it. And then I invite all my buddies down, and they come crash there and stuff. So it's a good spot.
And for people who know of Jersey Shore, like what is that? Are you the not like trash area, or you are actually proud to be like fist pumping, tank top?
No, I don't think there's no one around my town that's fist pumping and all that stuff. We're about like an hour and a half from that spot in North Jersey, but I get a kick out of the show, to be honest. I still kind of watch it. I love watching those clowns.
I was going to say, Nothing gets a worse rap than the Jersey Shore, and it's all because of that show. Because if you actually go there and you're not at that spot, it's absolutely gorgeous, which is 80% of it.
What is that spot, though?
Well, mostly North Jersey.
Seaside
right?
Heights. Seaside Heights is where it's at.
Yeah. So it's I live in Avalon, so it's about like probably an hour and a half, 2 hours from North Jersey up there. But I live in like it's a pretty small town, and it's only like 3 miles long, maybe. So 7 miles long, sorry. And these people are really nice, and it's a pretty quiet town, so enjoy it.
Is there a name for the people who are in the Greasy area? Do you guys have like a funny saying for them?
No, not really, but there's a couple towns over that are kind of a little bit more greasier, but but those bars are fun to go to too. Like you drive down, it's like 10-minute Uber, and a lot of fun to just go to the bars down there. And there's a bar in my town, but it's pretty casual, and it doesn't get too nuts. But yeah, it's a good time. Love it down there.
We're just talking about Hazy, a good friend. You said how good of a friend he is. I have to bring up the sweatshirt you're wearing right now. Is that a sweatshirt or a T-shirt?
Yeah, it's my all-time favorite show.
Is it really?
Yeah, I watch it every night before I go to bed. So,
what do
you still watch it every night?
Pretty much. I mean,
wow.
I just like.
What's your best favorite episode?
Favorite episode is probably the one where Ross got high.
Love it.
When Ross got high.
Yeah, it's like a memory of when he was in high school and he got high and his parents are there. It's pretty. It's a good epi, but no, I need to watch TV to fall asleep. So I've watched the series so many times that I can just close my eyes, and when I hear them talking, I know exactly what's going on, so I can keep my eyes closed and I just pass out. But
so you're watching Friends with your mind, basically.
Subconscious. Are you a Chandler guy or a Joey guy? Because nobody's a Ross guy.
No, I'm a big Ross guy too.
All right. Put your fucking shoe in your mouth. Put your shoe in your mouth.
That's hilarious. I like Joey too. Honestly, I like them all. The only character that I really don't like is Phoebe. I think she kind of pisses me off. But...
The blonde one?
Yeah.
She's a little painful for you, Johnny?
Smelly cat.
Clean it up. Well, it's better than Cobra Kai. I'll give you that.
Oh, Biz not liking Cobra Kai, huh?
What other shows you watching these days? That's usually RA's question, but you must be consuming a lot, especially as you're traveling.
Yeah. I feel like I pretty much watched everything during COVID. I mean, we watched Outer Banks, really liked it.
Did you watch Ted Lasso?
Oh, you're reality TV. You're a reality TV guy for sure then.
Yeah, I like Narcos.
You watch Below Deck?
Below Deck, yeah, I love it.
I just went to dinner with a girl who used to be on it. The blonde curly haired one. She was one of the OGs.
Below Deck is the yacht one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. That's a really good show. But isn't there like different casts like every season? Or no?
Yeah, well, they do like different areas where they're on the yacht. They could be in Europe. They'll be in the Bahamas. But for anyone who's interested in like yacht living and then how painful these guests could be, it's classic TV. I love it.
Have you seen?
What do you mean? As in high maintenance wit?
Well, yeah, I mean, like some people come on and their like order sheet for the food is so outrageous. There's like 8 of them. There's one chef on this boat. It's just funny. But then they show the staff going at it, making out, crushing each other, getting loaded. The captain's yelling at them. There's
oh my God, this is awesome.
Captain. This show is so good. And they got like rocket Australian guys and girls working the boat. It's like you could stay up all night watching those with your mind. Like Johnny listens to Friends.
Yeah. Or that.
Johnny Damon was on one actually too. He was like so dumb that guy can't even talk. But I digress.
Well, I was asking if you watch Ted Lasso. It's on Apple TV Plus. I've been raving about it forever. Have you checked that out yet?
Ted Lasso.
It's with Jason Sudeikis on it from Saturday Night Live years ago.
No, I don't think
it's on the guest bingo card. He asks every single guest.
No, it's on Apple TV Plus. It's. I told Whit to watch. I'm not sure if you finished it. It's a fantastic show, man. Definitely. I think you'd like it too because
if you don't watch
like
it, he's gonna murder your family.
No, Johnny's a wicked wholesome kid. I think he'd even appreciate it more than the average.
Yeah, I'll give it a watch tonight. I'll start epi 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to hear it. Any plans for the big game Sunday? Just to let the listeners know, we're recording this a couple days before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what's your pick?
Yeah, honestly, I think Mahomes will win, but I hope Brady wins so bad. Even though with everything New England, everything, and I lived there for 3 years with BC and how painful it was sometimes with the Boston people and Brady and everything.
What do you mean?
Oh, geez. Honestly, I hope he wins, though. That'd be so cool. I mean, like, you will never get to see a player that's like him again, and we get to watch. So I'm hoping he wins, but who knows?
Apparently, some of the biggest bets in are on Tampa.
Really?
We'll see. I'm doing live betting throughout the game, so I don't know much about live betting, but I'm going to try to hit like a next TD prop or something like that. That's what it's all about, Barstool Sportsbook.
Hey, have you stepped up your cowboy boot game at all?
No, still don't.
Just not your thing, huh?
I saw you at Stampede, and they had you do the parade, and he was in the parade with shorts on and Gucci high tops.
Yeah, I wore Yeezys the first year, and then I was like, I gotta go something different this year. I can't wear stupid cowboy boots. You kidding me?
So he's on the local TV station riding a horse downtown Calgary with Gucci loafers on.
Yeah, so I threw the Gucci's on, and if I ride in again, I'll have to mix it up again, but we'll see.
All right.
But no cowboy boots. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, buddy, and best of luck with the rest of the season. Hopefully you guys are able to turn things around.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a blast.
Our pleasure, right, Johnny. Thanks for coming.
Have a great one. Thank you so much to Johnny Ham and Cheese, a.k.a. Ross Goudreau. Huge fan of the show Friends, what a season, a bounce-back year so far for him after being disappointed. 13 points in 11 games, so we appreciate it very much.
But how about R.A. saying, it can't be Ross? Ross can't be your...
I would have said the same thing, R.A. Ross is the worst character ever.
Yeah, he's so annoying. Most people can't stand the guy, but apparently Johnny likes him, so yeah, whatever, to each his own. All right, gang, listen, this Valentine's Day, find jewelry as unique as your love with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. You can do it via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Blue Nile has been the original online jeweler since 1999, and they've helped millions of couples create their perfect engagement ring. Whether you're customizing an engagement ring or designing diamond stud earrings, online jeweler Blue Nile will help you create a bigger, more brilliant piece than you can imagine at a price you won't find at a traditional jeweler. You can't beat the 24/7 expert advice and legendary service with 30-day returns. And when you commit to a piece, so does Blue Nile, as they guarantee service and repair for life. If it's not perfect, no problem. Blue Nile has a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and you can shop stress-free with guaranteed free shipping and returns. And if you need it fast, Blue Nile can deliver overnight in most cases. So make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Spittin Chiclets listeners get $50 off your first purchase over $500. This podcast exclusive is only good through Valentine's Day and includes engagement stuff too, so get on that, fellas, if you're putting it off. Use the code Chiclets. That's code Chiclets, CHICLETS. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what your secret is, all right? So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today and use the code Chiclets.
Nice.
All right, boys, humming right along. We're going to go over to the Central Division next. Had quite a bit of controversy in Sunday's Columbus-Carolina game. I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know if you guys have. Vincent Trocheck scored late in the second period. He appeared to be offside. Columbus requested a coach's challenge for the offside. And what was crazy is they didn't overrule it. It was plain as day that he was offside. They gave him the goal. They gave Columbus a penalty. And then apparently they reviewed it between periods or whatever. They took the power play down at the start of the period, but they left the goal out. And I'm going to go per the NHL. During the review, a miscommunication occurred between the video replay booth in Columbus, the linesman, and the situation room, and play resumed before all replays could be reviewed to confirm the offside. The challenge by Columbus should have resulted in the Carolina goal being disallowed. Subsequently, Columbus was assessed a delay of game penalty. After confirmation in the intermission that the play was offside, the remaining 45 seconds of the delay of game penalty issued was rescinded to begin the third period. Of course, the goal stuck up there. I don't know, man. This is a bad look for the NHL.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah. Go ahead, Whit. You seem hot about it.
I just can't believe at this level that can happen where, okay, guys, you don't get the penalty because it actually wasn't a goal, but they get to keep the goal. It was like, and then they lose by one. It's And Patrick Laine was perfect after. I think he said something, I've never seen anything like that. It's pathetic.
I think he dropped an F-bomb, said it was a fucking joke.
Patrick Laine, standing in the OV Stamkos spot, had 2 snipe dogs. He looks so sick set up there on the top, or not the top of the umbrella, but off to the side. I just can't believe that at a level that the NHL's at, with all the replay they have and all the ability to review so much now that drives people insane, and you actually can fuck it up that much. It's like, who knows how much you end up missing the playoffs by. It's like you lost a game that you should have at least gotten a point from. It was bullshit.
I mean, I think you summarized it perfectly. And then probably smart, Torts refused to comment on it after the game, because if he did, he'd probably be writing another check over to the league. But, yeah, Columbus got bent over. No spit, no lube, sandpaper finish on that one for sure.
Yeah, Aaron Portzline at The Athletic, he reported today, Monday, before we started recording, that it was human error, specifically the actions of an over-exuberant off-ice official who was in training. And apparently this guy was either speaking out loud or whatever, and so that's a good goal. And someone overheard it, and apparently thought that was the call. It's just something that was one of those things, like, how does it even happen? Like, you should know who you're talking to, who's saying what. Apparently the linesman heard a voice say that's a good goal, and they skated off before they could get him. And the NHL also has a light. It's like a strobe light they can hit, so it'll put the light on by the rink so people can say, oh, they're trying to get our attention. But the guy who, because of COVID, the guy who got the headphones back, normally he just puts them back on his head. But because of COVID, he had to clean off the wipe. So he, A, didn't have the headphones on, and B, didn't see the light going off. So they were frantically in Toronto trying to get the guy, and he's like, dum-dee-dum-dee-dum, cleaning fucking the headphones off. And meanwhile, Columbus gets porked out of a goal. So, hey, look, all these leagues have accidents. We're not picking on the NHL here, but this one was pretty egregious, man. It was pretty bad.
Torts is going to be calling that kid like Liam Neeson and Taken, just breathing into the phone. I mean, the fact that it was like a summer Naha tournament at Marlboro for this NHL game the other night. Joke.
Unreal.
Well, speaking of Columbus, Jack Roslovic got his first goal Thursday night. He's got a goal and 5 assists in 6 games with Columbus, so he's obviously been rejuvenated by the trade. Patrick Laine's got 3 goals in 3 games as well. Zach Werenski went to the IR with a lower body injury. He's expected to miss a week. How about the Florida Panthers? They lost their first game in regulation Sunday versus Detroit, and their point streak ended at 8 games. Biz, I'm not sure this is a team people thought would be close to the top of the standards at this point. I know it's early, but so far so good for Florida.
And once they start getting a little bit of goaltending, I think they're going to be even better. I mean, I would say Bobrovsky hasn't necessarily been off to the hottest start. We got like 10 trolls nonstop. Every time Jans throws a turnover, they're fucking.
It's a little cult of losers.
It's crazy. It's like
and
every defenseman in the league throws a couple turnovers. This guy's got 7 points in 8 games, and he's doing what he normally does. And he threw a turnover against the Detroit Red Wings, and they ended up scoring a goal. I think that led things off. But who gives a fuck? I mean, that shit's going to happen.
These people are foolish. I look at their profiles; they're so dumb. They know absolutely nothing about hockey. Probably living in Boca Raton, fucking clueless to the game. And I'll tell you, the guy who do want to shout out in Florida, and everyone talks about Barkov. Why wouldn't you? One of the best in the league. But this Carter Verhaeghe, man, he is playing with Barkov, and he is making some sick plays out there. Super skilled. And if you look at the kid's hockey DB and you kind of do some little research texts I did to kind of figure out who he is, he's worked for every single thing he's had. He was picked in the 3rd round in the 2013 draft by the Leafs, and he grinded it out. He played in the AHL, then he was in the Coast, 2 different seasons, spent time in the Coast, and then he got to Syracuse in 2017, 2018, part of the Lightning organization, had a great year there. 18-19, he crushed it. I think he led the league in scoring, 82 points in the AHL. Last year, spent a good portion of the year with the Lightning, did pretty well, and then signs with the Panthers. He's at a point per game right now. He's got 6 goals in 9 games, and I swear, if you look at his progression, it's similar in a way to I'm drawing a blank. Jonathan Marchessault, who kind of had to spend his time and really earn a chance to play in the NHL, and all of a sudden gets up there and shows he can be like a point-per-game player and an elite scorer. So Carter Verhaeghe's a guy that I think's surprised so many people, and one of the reasons the Panthers look so good. And you talk about Bobrovsky. He might be the worst goaltender in the league right now. He's the highest paid goalie. It's like the complete. I mean, if you're the best goalie and you're the lowest paid goalie, what a dream. When it's the opposite, it's a full blown nightmare. So they're winning games not because of him, because of the other guy in net. So I don't really understand where they're going to go from there and how many years he has that contract. But Jesus, thank God for this Dredger. I don't even know how to say his name.
Chris Dredger.
Dredger.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Yandel, guys. We got to bring up his article in The Athletic you guys were quoted in. Just a fun read, obviously. What was it called? Appropriately inappropriate or inappropriately appropriate, whatever the headline was. It was a real good read about KY and The Athletic. How long ago did you guys get called for that?
A couple weeks.
Yeah. Couple weeks ago,
just to talk to what he provides a locker room and how he adds that levity and before games sometimes things get a little bit tense, but he's there to calm everybody down and have a few laughs and remember that we're just playing a game, or we were, excuse me. We didn't mention Huberdeau either, who's been off to another hot start, and I think if you look over the past 6 seasons or something, he's top 10 in scoring throughout the entire league. He has been exceptional since he's been down there.
It's kind of funny you said Boca Raton. They actually get very high hockey ratings on TV when the games are on the playoffs. Their name every once in a while pops up in the top 10 American cities for hockey ratings.
So these foolish fans who hate Yans that root for the Panthers, maybe they're living in Daytona Beach with your relatives.
Hilarious.
And before we move on from this division, I just want to shout out myself again for Carolina looks good, and I don't even think Aho's really got going yet, so shout out to me for talking about how good the Hurricanes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago, another team. It looked like they had no goalie to start the year. Then Kevin Lankinen, this Finnish free agent, kind of come out of nowhere. Yep. I don't know if he saved their season, but they're only a point out of the top seed in the division right now, well, albeit they have 3 games in hand.
I was with Chief on Sunday night. He says he thinks they're going to make the playoffs.
Tampa. Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks a lot better than it did a couple weeks ago. DeBrincat and Kane are on absolute fire. A couple other notes here, goaltender notes in the division. Anton Hudobin, he missed Sunday's game for disciplinary reasons. They didn't really get into particulars, but I don't know if he was late. But Bonas said, I don't have too many rules, so I expect you to obey him. So I don't know if it was late or tardiness or whatever, but either way, he didn't get the start. And Carolina goalie Peter Mrazek is going to be out for a little bit. He had thumb surgery. He was leading the league with a .99 goals against and a .955 save percentage when he got hurt. So Carolina obviously want to get him back soon in the lineup. Any other notes from this division, boys? You want to move on to the West?
No, just got Nashville really needs to step up. And unfortunately, last night they had the Lightning. I don't know how the game will go, but they got to start winning some games.
Yeah, the season can slip away from you pretty quick. 2 weeks ago, the Central was pretty much the first division that had to deal with all these COVID issues. And last week, it was the West that lost a bunch of games, or at least had to postpone a bunch of games. Let's see, Colorado beat Minnesota on Tuesday, but then both teams had to go on the postpone route. Colorado is not going to be playing through at least February 11th, and Minnesota is not going to be playing until at least through February 9th. This division just didn't have a lot of games. Vegas has still only played 9 games this division. San Jose, Anaheim, they split shootout wins. And Biz, we were talking about Arizona and St. Louis.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the schedule. And these teams must already hate each other with this schedule, no?
Yeah, things are getting a little bit chippy. Braden Shen ended up scrapping with this Johan Larson, the kid who came over from Buffalo. Sneaky.
He's a big dude. Yeah, I know.
He's sneaky 400 games played. I didn't know he'd been in the league that long, but he's also he has a bit of sandpaper to him. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Earlier in the game, I think Phil Kessel gave Braden Shen a little bit of a cup check, and they were going at it. And then in the second period, I think that's why part of the reason why I think they scrapped. But ultimately, right now, St. Louis just doesn't look that great. I think Parayko's struggling a little bit. You know, they've changed the dynamic of their team around a little. And Coyotes have been playing some good hockey. They got two of the 3 games so far in this series, and they could have easily won that first game. They ended up giving up the lead. But I've only seen them. I've seen Anaheim, who looked like shit. I think that they need to call up that Zegras because I have there's nothing.
It makes 0 sense.
There's nothing exciting about watching them play and just watching how how slow they are and they're not very exciting. It's just like, why wouldn't you have this kid? Because I keep seeing these clips of him down in the American League lighting it up. So I'm excited for them to eventually call him up. And then we saw Vegas for 4 games, and you said that they haven't played much hockey, but they still look like the top dog. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's been a bit of a gong show as far as the games are concerned. Sucks for Minnesota that they got things shut down because they were rolling pretty good. And it's going to be interesting to see, because of all this COVID protocol, teams who were rolling, all of a sudden a week goes by without being in game rhythm, and all of a sudden you're thrown back into the fire, and you're going to have to make up all these games. So the 3-day breaks throughout the course of this season that you thought you might have had, gonzos. Now you're playing every other day. So things will be interesting as they play out.
And for a Blues team who, like you said, really does need to step it up, tough news with Robert Thomas. I think he broke his hand or his thumb. Yeah, so I mean that's 4 to 6 weeks when you lose one of your top players. It's a weird time, and I think you do mention a little bit of the defensive struggles. We're also seeing how well Pietrangelo has played for Vegas. It is I think probably a little tough for Blues fans to deal with what's going on right now. And just shout out to Kemper. He's trying to go. His next win's his 100th career win. We've talked about how good he's looked, and I think that there's the sky's the limit. Like, you're only going to see this guy continue to improve.
Yeah, not a ton of games in that division this week to break down. Yeah. The Kings did play 3 games. Unfortunately for them, they lost all 3. And that's a team they come out. I thought they had some spunk early on. I mean, they didn't win a ton of games, but they were in every game. They were playing tough, but you wonder if the wheels are going to fall off there. But either way, you rattle off 3-4 in a row, you're right back in the thick of these races. So, all right, boys, any other notes in the West? Like I said, it was a quiet week there. There wasn't much going on with all the COVID shit. So
yeah, they kind of got beat down by the what's going on. So we can move on from that division. But I do think, like we've mentioned all along, Vegas and Colorado are just so heads and shoulders above every other team there.
Yep, and it's was it Vegas, Colorado tied with 15 points apiece, although Vegas does have 2 games in hand. So, all right,
and St. Louis has 15 points too. So I know it's like it's not panic time by any means, but I don't think they've looked great.
No.
All right, moving over to the East. This is another division. They've had more postponements due to COVID-19. New Jersey and Buffalo didn't play since our last show. They basically had to go into COVID protocol.
No, Buffalo is just they're just so bad. They just told them to stop playing games.
Fake cough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph Kruger tested positive. There are 8 Sabres in protocol right now. New Jersey has 17 players in protocol. And again, that doesn't mean anyone's positive. It's the situation that they're in where they can't be around people. So, yeah, again, another division that was affected. But I think, boys, we got to talk about David Pastrnak. He returns to the Bruins after hip surgery. Put up 5 goals, 3 assists in 4 games, including the hat trick versus Philly. I mean, this guy went, obviously, but he put this kind of lamp. It's not a shot of adrenaline. It's like 5 shots of adrenaline.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I mean, that's a tough surgery to come back from. You thought there might be a little bit of rust, like just right away, off the bat, the skills around the net, the ability to, like, he had the first goal in that Philly game, he walked maybe Gostisbehere, I don't remember exactly who it was, with just this silky move where it's like, he stops up. He's got his head up the entire time. He's able to, like, put it through your triangle, put it through your legs. He's so slippery. And then he never has any panic moments. Like, around the net, there's a D-man sliding at him. You just see him wait out so many different players that he's just always able to, like, get shots off. He also comes down. He'll change that angle. We talk about Matthews doing it. Like, changing the angle by this much. I'm showing you the length of my hose. It's 1.5 inch. It just creates a lane where you can get shots through, and all of a sudden it's like defensemen are backing up even more because they don't want to get beat. So Marchand's been awesome. That team looks good. I know we dogged them early on at the beginning, but the Bruins look like they're right there again. I got to shout out, as much as I dogged and maybe questioned the defense, these guys have looked good. Lazon and Zaboral, is it Zaboral? Is that how you say it? Right? They've had moments where they look solid, and I think McAvoy's had a great start to his year, and getting Grzelcyk back only helps them. So Kevin Miller's made a big difference in terms of, like, physicality and being tough to play against and replacing Chara, but they look great. Philly looks good too. That whole division, I know Washington fuck up by me. I've been all over that, but they could not get the goaltending that you mentioned earlier in the showbiz, because they got out to a lead. Ovechkin had 4 points against them, and still they got pounded 7-4. So that was a weird game.
That was quite the game for Ovi. Talking about Pasternak's dangles coming down. How about Ovi between the legs? He's still got it. And that even that shot, he was basically right at the blue line when he ended up scoring that goal off the post and in. But fuck, man, the high flying offense of all those teams.
I know we always talk about Kevin Hayes. People give a shit, and I've tried to bring up Joel Farabee as much. BU guy that's looked great, but another Hockey East alum, New Hampshire, James Van Riemsdyk. Whoa, what a start! And this guy, very similar to the way Pavelski plays in terms in front of the net. He's getting sticks on everything. He's got 18 points in 13 games right now. So I think there's been times where JVR has, like, you know, you hear his name in trade rumors, and there's times when, like, the fans get on him a little bit. But this season he's come to play, and he's so good in front of the net. He's so good down low that he's made a huge difference in a sense that they have the depth up front. They have so much depth that they scratched Konechny one game. Where Vigneault's talking about being responsible, you know, defensively and offensively, and not just cheating towards the offensive side of the puck. And he scratched Konechny, who's a great player, and you see what he's able to accomplish. So they do have the ability to, like, kind of shuffle guys in and out of the lineup. So I just think there's so much talent in Philly. They're going to be right there at the end of the year, and I think them, Boston, Washington are the class of that division.
Yeah, I would bet the over if you're betting a Philly game, man. It's like every game they're putting up a 5-piece.
And also, too, we got to mention Sean Couturier. He returned to the lineup, and you feel like the lineup just got more swagger with him in it. He was unbelievable. He's just a force out there. He had 2 goals and an assist. Scott Laughton had the hat trick on Sunday in the 7-4 win over the Caps. But Couturier, man, like, you know, we just talked about Pasta, what he does to a lineup. Couturier does a similar thing, more on the defensive side. But that team is just a different team with him in the lineup.
Yeah. Biz? Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Selke.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who every year is considered one of the top two-way players in the whole league.
And the Caps, they've been struggling a little bit. I mean, they're only with 3 points back of the first place, but they've lost 3 in a row. Their goaltender, Samsonov, he's still out with COVID. Not sure exactly when he's going to be back. You got to think it's this week if the other Russians have been back in the lineup. So, actually, this is a pretty cool story out of New York. New York Ranger Anthony Bitetto, 30-year-old defenseman. He's from Island Park, New York, which is on Long Island, just outside of Brooklyn or Queens, I believe. He grew up a Rangers fan. He scored his first goal as a Ranger and his first goal in his last 3 seasons the other night. I don't know if you guys caught it.
It was a beauty.
Pretty cool moment. Yeah, it was a real cool moment. I mean, you know, guys at that stage of the game, he probably, you know, late 20s, I'm never going to play for the Rangers at any point in his life, and he gets out there. And people think because you're on Long Island, he's an Islanders fan. But no, he pitches him as a kid, as a Ranger. So that was a pretty cool moment.
I like him even more.
Pretty fired up.
And you saw the celebration was cool because you could tell how much it meant to the guys to see him score. And like you said, Biz, it was a beauty. He had the patience come to the middle of the ice. I think he'll admit it was a complete muffin off his backhand. But even to get in there with the move he made, it was pretty sick. So
sometimes that benefits you
right there.
When it comes off the backhand like a muffin.
Oh, yeah, the old changeup.
Yep.
Yeah, third correct attack for Bitetto, so congrats to him. That was a cool scene. All right, boys, speaking of Rangers, we're going to throw it to former Ranger captain Ryan Callahan shortly, but first, insurance can be complicated, and that's why The Zebra was created. When you use thezebra.com, insurance finally feels like it's in black and white. No more confusion, just honest rates from real companies. The Zebra is the nation's leading insurance comparison site for car and home insurance. They can help you save money today, and it's so easy. You go to thezebra.com, answer a few questions to compare accurate insurance quotes for free. And don't worry, the Zebra protects your personal information and makes sure there are no hidden fees or surprises along the way. The best part? You can secure your insurance from thezebra.com or over the phone with one of their licensed insurance agents. So simple. How much money can you save on your car or home insurance? Visit thezebra.com/chiclets. That's thezebra.com/chiclets. CHICLETS for your insurance in black and white. Definitely want to check that stuff
and
out
RA.
Because, yeah.
Oh, fuck. I thought you were going to be done with it. I was going to say, since we were talking about the Rangers, I don't know if you guys saw Trouba, who was trying to pull off the reverse hit on Malkin coming in. And Malkin gave him the fake and just stole the puck, and Trouba ended up falling over. So that was a clip that ended up going viral, as well as one that Grinelli ended up bringing back up. When I was playing for the Manchester Monarchs, the Hartford Wolfpack, who are the New York Rangers farm team, the referee had signaled them to start the shootout. And this is going back to the year we ended up winning the Calder Cup. So normally the ref blows a whistle to signal for the goalie to be ready. So the player, he must have signaled the player to go, and our goalie is staring down at the ice waiting.
You were in that game?
I was on the bench watching this happen.
The clip that I just saw yesterday?
The clip that you just saw yesterday.
Oh, my God. Who missed it? Who missed that?
I don't know who it was, but we're yelling from the bench because you could see that he's not ready. And all of a sudden, the player comes down, and the player finally puts his head up, and our goalie is still staring straight down at the ice, and he puts one right off his fucking pad. He had the whole net. He had the whole 5-hole. He could have went right
on the ice.
He could have passed it, and he could have skated it into the net. And
he rips it off his pad, and then he stops, and he's like,
he looks at the ref. He's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, the ref's like, "Don't blame me, dude. I just gave you a free tuck."
So,
my God.
So a couple viral clips that are going off that division, and the old one that kind of made me chuckle a little bit. We were in the locker room after losing it.
And before, that was. I actually laughed seeing that on Twitter. And before we go to Callahan, I did forget to mention that today, so yesterday for you guys, it marks the 3-year anniversary from the infamous letter that the Rangers season ticket holders were sent, where it was just like, we are going to try to basically rebuild. And since then, they've signed Panarin, they've drafted first overall, second overall, and a little bit of slow starts for Capo Caco and Lafreniere. But like we always mention, you're so young, doesn't need to happen right away. So I think that Rangers fans, as disappointed as they were 3 years ago yesterday, they're pretty fired up right now in the direction of the team. And I know the season hasn't got off the way they hoped, but still, it's way different than the tone when that letter was sent. So one of the guys that played a key role in the success the Rangers had for a long time was Ryan Callahan. We appreciate him joining us. We'll go to him right now.
Well, we'd like to welcome our next guest to the show. This hard-nosed winger officially announced his retirement from pro hockey in December. One of the top two-way forwards during his playing days, he played in 878 total NHL games in a 13-season career split between the New York Rangers and Tampa Bay Lightning. He also suited up for Team USA on the international stage numerous times. Thanks a bunch for joining us, Ryan Callahan. How's it going, man?
Good, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Congrats on the retirement first off. What are you doing to keep busy these days?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. 3 kids at home, a little bit crazy with them. But, last year, obviously, I was under contract with Ottawa, but had a bit of taste of retirement not playing. So I was in Florida. I played a lot of golf, and now I'm back in Rochester and staring at the snow. So I'm wondering what I'm doing.
It's fucking snowing every single day in Rochester, New York at this time of year. It's like, another 8 inches. Oh, shit. How old are your kids, Callie?
8, 6, and 3. So
boys, girls, they playing hockey?
No, first 2 are girls. I got a figure skater and a horseback rider, and then rolled the dice one more time, and I got my boy. So
there we go.
We're
nice.
Good.
Get that outdoor rink going at some point.
I know, right?
So we met a long time ago, but last time I saw you was, I think, your first trip working at NHL Network, and it might have been my last. We just overlapped. Have you still been doing that, or NBC Sports? What's been going on for media-wise?
Yeah, I'm going to do the NHL Network again.
Nice.
Actually, I'm there Monday through Thursday, and then I'm also going to do the NBC as well. So I enjoyed doing it. Gave it a shot last year. It's fun to do. Kept me in the game, kept me involved, kept me watching hockey, which is the biggest thing, and it's been fun.
Did that grab your attention more so than maybe coaching or being a scout?
Yeah, to be honest, last year, because I was under contract, I really couldn't do anything with a team, and kind of that's where I originally thought I would do is hook on with a team and be maybe on the management side of things. Coaching, I really had no interest in, just because the amount of time you're looking at a computer at the rink. But so I knew I wanted to stay involved, and then the NHL Network called and was like, "Hey, do you want to come on and see how you like it?" So I gave it a shot, and I really enjoyed it, and decided to do it again this year.
We've talked to a bunch of guys, and it's so true. Like, not many people understand. Assistant coaches are watching, I don't know, 5 hours of video a day. It's nonstop. So to start thinking about like bus rides and flights where you're just on the computer, like, I don't think so.
Yeah, you see it, like you said, you see every day that they're there way before you are, leave way after you are, staring at a computer. you talk to assistant coaches and they seem just miserable half the time, right? So like
they're always yawning,
sleep bloodshot deprived eyes.
Yeah,
breath smells like coffee. I'm like, I'm good.
Get me out of here.
Mike, I'll be like, hey, Mike wants to see you again. Mike Terry. I'm like, oh fuck you, you're always giving me the bad news. But a New York kid who ended up playing in the OHL, Biz said he battled against you and you were in Guelph.
You guys had some great teams and you played with some great players. You saw Drew Doughty come into the OHL. You played with Martin St. Pierre, who I think he did most of his damage in the KHL, but he was a junior legend. You played with Dan Girardi as well.
Yeah, we had some really good teams in Guelph. Cam Jansen, St. Pierre, Dan Paillet, Dan Girardi, Kevin Klein went through there as well. I mean, we had some pretty stacked teams. It's kind of funny how I ended up there. I mean, obviously everybody usually goes the college route, being the U.S., but when those first offers came around for scholarships, nobody offered me anything. And then that's when I had to make my decision if I was going to go to the OHL or not. And truth be told, I was kind of a favor pick in the OHL. My agent's friends with Jeff Jackson, was the head coach at the time, said I was interested in maybe going, and they picked me up in the 15th round. And
no way.
Yeah, after that, I decided to go give it a shot because no colleges wanted me at that point. They said I was more the second tier of scholarships, and I kind of liked that style of hockey, the amount of games they played, and I went up there and had a good camp and luckily attached onto the team.
Who taught you to play like that hard-nosed style where you were known blocking shots, hitting people? Was that your dad, or was that a coach when you were younger?
A little bit my dad. I think he just instilled to me and my brother as well, just do everything you can as the hardest possible, no matter what you're doing, and take pride in your work. And in the OHL, I realized too that the only way I was going to get on the ice is doing that extra little stuff when I first got into that league, because I wasn't lighting it up on the score sheet right away, so I just wanted to get in the lineup. And then obviously playing under Torts as well, I think he polished it for me and realized that, if I play that way consistently, I could be successful.
How did it get to the next level, though? All of a sudden you started putting up like really good numbers in the OHL, like just more of an opportunity in the guys you were playing with, or were these like skill sets you were working on in the off season?
Yeah, more just opportunity. I think I was definitely a late bloomer. Don't get me wrong. But I think it was opportunity. My first coach there, Jeff Jackson, I played under him. He taught me the defensive zone really well, but then he left and Sean Camp came in and he gave me an opportunity to play. And I started playing with top players, had a good year. And the next year we went to the OHL finals. We won. I was playing with Marty St. Pierre and Brett Trudell. I don't know if you remember that name at all.
Yeah.
And I just had a really big year and kind of caught everybody's radar, and then it went from there.
Was Jeff Jackson, is that the same Jeff Jackson that was the first coach of the program in Ann Arbor? Had an eye issue. He coached at Lake State.
Yep. Now he's at Notre Dame, I believe.
Yeah, that guy's been doing it forever.
Forever. Yeah. So he was my first coach.
How much did Dustin Brown impact that too? Because he has a pretty similar style of play. He's a bit of a pit bull in there.
He is, and I had him in Guelph as well. I forgot about him. He played in. I get fined. My phone's going off here. But yeah, he's kind of that same style. It's hard nosed, bigger guy, and played hard. So he was easy guy to watch when I was in Guelph.
Was he showing you magic tricks back in junior? Remember, he used to. He was like David Blaine of the OHL. I don't know if you'd ever seen him.
At World Juniors, I made him do stuff to me the whole tournament. It was nuts.
Yeah, he did. He loved his magic. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, he loved it.
Ryan, you get drafted after your second season at Guelph, 4th round, 127th overall. Did you have any expectations going to the draft, given that you couldn't even get a scholarship offer a couple years before that?
Yeah, no, I was eligible for the draft the year before. No takers, nothing. Obviously, I didn't have much of a year that year. I wasn't playing a ton in the O. And my agent advised me not to go to the draft. He said he's seen enough kids sit through the draft and not get picked up. And I knew I wasn't going to be a first or second rounder. So I sat at home, watched it on the computer and waited for the phone call. And, luckily it was the New York Rangers, which is absolutely wild to even think about growing up in New York. I was a Sabres fan, but you're always a New York Rangers fan too, being from New York State.
Say, you a part of Bill's Mafia? Are you still in mourning after the big loss last week, or what?
No, I'm not. I'm okay with that. I was cheering for him. I'd love to see him win, but I'm not jumping through any tables anytime soon.
Good. We don't need you
snapping your ankle in half.
Yeah, I've had enough injuries.
Looks good on Instagram, at least. So you left. Oh, actually, no. Before I get out of Guelph, what was your first thoughts on Drew Doughty? I mean, was your last year in junior was his first?
Correct. Yeah. And it was wild right from camp. And me and my dad still talk about it. I remember calling my dad, his first couple of days of camp. And I'm like, we got this kid, Drew Doughty, and he is going to be unbelievable. Just his talent, his confidence, the way he could skate and move out there. I didn't see anything like it, up to that point. So I knew right away that, he was going to be good. He was a goofy young kid, and, he was still how he is now, really. He never shuts up. And, as a 16-year-old coming in, you can imagine how I felt as a vet, but
you must have hated him at the beginning.
Always chatting, never shut up on the bus, everything. So, but yeah, I mean, pretty good scouting. Was not hard to miss, though. He was good right from the start.
When you did join the Rangers, Jaromir Jagr was still there, putting up a point per game. I mean, was he just in full-on rock star mode, practicing when he wanted, doing what he wanted back then?
Oh, he was amazing. There's a funny thing about Jagr. So we'd go out for practice, and this is my first couple practices with the team, just getting called up, right? So I'd go out there, and everybody gets called over to the board. Tom Rennie's the coach at the time, so he's sitting there drawing on the board, and I look over to my right, and Jagr's sitting on the bench, his chin strap's undone, looking completely the other way, not paying attention to the drill at all, right? And he's drinking out of this water bottle, and I see stuff hanging out of the water bottle. I'm like, what the hell is that, right? So that goes on, drill starts, and I go over and I kind of look at his water bottle. Still a young guy. I don't want anybody to see I'm doing it, right? And he's got tea bags in his water, right? So he's drinking hot tea, sitting on the bench as the coach is going over drills. And I'm like, what is going on here? But that's how he ran. And you never really seen him in practice either, like, go hard or, really, really hard or, full out. And I always thought to myself, what's going on? And I talked to a couple of guys. I'm like, what's going on with the Yags? He's like, well, when we're all done here and we all go back to the city, he drives back at nighttime. They open up the training center for him. He practices by himself. He works out by himself. And that's when he gets his real work in. And I was like, holy shit, all the things that he's accomplished, and he's still going back to the rink at 9:00 at night and working out. It's pretty nuts.
That first year, you spent most of the year in Hartford. Was it a situation where you kind of expected that, or during training camp, was there a chance you were going to make the club?
Zero chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were a veteran team.
They were. I knew that, and I didn't even play in the blue-white game that year. I remember sitting out and watching me and
the training camp for the blue-white game.
Me and Rick Kozak sat there and watched the blue-white game. I remember that, and thinking to myself, like, oh man, like what am I doing? What's going to happen, right? So I went down to Hartford, went through camp there. I was health bombed for first 3 games in Hartford.
What?
Yeah. So
Jesus.
And I didn't know what was, going on, what was going to happen. And Jim Schoenfeld was the coach there in Hartford, who was unbelievable with me. I owe so much to him. And he got me back in the lineup, played me a ton, put me on the power play. And, I just started rolling, started putting up points, had a really big year, put a lot of goals up that year, and started getting called up and down. And eventually I finished the season with New York and playoffs.
Jim Schoenfeld got a shout out, have another pig, you fat donut, one of the greatest all-time coach referee arguments. But
have another donut, you fat pig?
What did I say? Have another pig, you fat donut?
Yeah, you said the opposite, you idiot.
What a loser. Well, hey, either way, I got to ask about a guy in Hartford, and it's Nigel Dawes, who's gone on to be the greatest player in KHL history besides Mosiakin. Do you think if it was nowadays, he would have played this long in the NHL? Like, what was going on there where he's been so great over there, and maybe now he doesn't come back for a reason, but he had to go over there at one point? Yeah,
that's a great question. I don't know why he never stuck. I mean, you're right. He's unbelievable talent, good shot. A lot of guys like that, you look at them like, well, they're not good defensively or they're complete liability, where he wasn't. He was fine in the defensive zone, and I don't know. It's a guy that you scratch your head about. Another one, like we mentioned before, is the St. Pierre, right? How didn't he ever make it? Or
his stick was too long.
Stick way too long. He actually got me using a longer stick. I used a really long stick, and it was because of him.
He used Charlink stick, this guy on the ice with. Had you ever played against him?
I played against him a bunch of times, and he was in Norfolk, and then I saw him in Russia. His stick's longer. He was longer than mine, and I think he's 5'10".
Oh, easily, yeah. It was wild how long his stick was.
There would have been coaches, actually, I'm guessing, who were like, hey, like, cut your stick. And maybe he just stuck to his guns. But you had to think that would have helped him to have it a little bit shorter. Maybe I'm wrong, and he wouldn't even be half the player he was.
I don't know. He seemed to do all right with the long stick, amount of points and things
That's
he put
true.
up. So,
he should have another pig. He's a fat donut.
Hey, I just want to go back quickly. You said you were a health bomb at the blue and white game. No offense. Didn't get a scholarship offer. Like, had these situations created a chip on your shoulder throughout, or what was your mindset at the time? Did you not even think of the fact that you kind of kept getting like shriveled?
Huge chip. I mean, a huge chip on my shoulder. That pride and everything got hit so hard, and that was part of the reason I think I did so well. Is I want to prove everybody wrong. I looked at it two ways. Either you sulk and you feel bad for yourself, or literally stick up a middle finger to everybody and say, watch me go out there and do it then, and that's kind of what I carried throughout my whole career. Even in my last year in Tampa, really, I was getting health bombed, the last couple of games there, I got health bombed in playoffs, and then I'd get in for a game and ended up putting points in those last couple of games I had just because I had that same mentality. It was probably some of the best hockey I've played that last couple of years was those last games, just because it's had that mentality of fuck you. Like I belong in this lineup, so it's, looking back, I think it helped me definitely.
Awesome. I think that's what just made you. That's what just. It was like every night, you know what you're gonna get from the guy. That's what all coaches want is consistency. I think for the most part. But after the first year, you got called up to New York and you finished the year in playoffs. Well, that summer they made that huge splash. That's what they signed Chris Drury and Gomez. I think it was that summer. So you must have been like, oh shit, like that. There's two forwards. I mean, were you worried going into that season?
I'll be honest, I wasn't. I mean, they signed those two guys, two centermen, kind of top six guys that I didn't think I was competing with or, gonna have to fight against for a spot. So I felt pretty comfortable going into that year after the playoffs I had and everything else. And after about 8 games, I think I had one goal. I hurt my knee, and I came back and I went with like 24 games without a point. Just struggling, couldn't do anything, right? And I was going to the rink every day, just waiting for someone to knock on my door and be like, you're getting sent down. And eventually they did. They sent me down. It was funny actually. So we're at the Garden. We're playing at the Garden. I got healthy scratch that night, and they're like, after the game, you're going down. So I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there watching the game. We end up losing 7-8-0, right? So I'm in the back of my head. I'm like, maybe they're going to keep me around. Sure enough, they called me in the office. You're staying, right? We were going on a road trip. He's like, we're going to bring you on the road trip. So I'm like, done. Perfect. So I got another chance here.
What a bounce.
Ended up playing 2 more games. I remember about that road trip too. I lost the credit card game. We all know the credit card game.
My goodness.
Back-to-back nights.
My God. What?
The next day I get called in and get sent down.
Oh my goodness! I'd clear the desk.
Oh, it's
He's going to have a stroke right now thinking of that.
Back to back.
So
ruthless.
So I get sent down. I get to New York. I'm driving to Hartford and I'm talking to my dad on the phone, right? So I'm driving and my dad's like, listen, at least it can't get any worse than this. Go down and start working. Sure enough, it comes out of his mouth. Boom, rocking the windshield, spiders my windshield as he says it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is brutal. How much worse can this get?
You're eating oodles and noodles for the next 2 weeks in the A's. Couple no-boo dinners. You're like, was the popcorn shrimp worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
We had Gomez on the show a while back. It's safe to say the Rangers got $15 million in laughs out of him anyways for those 2 years, huh?
Oh, he was an amazing guy, especially as a young guy. He always had me at his place. Me, Mark Stahl, Girardi. He'd always have us over at his nice penthouse he had there in the city. We'd sit on the rooftop. Did he make it
Alaskan style inside?
Yeah, it was all decked out and decorated. I mean, I don't know what he was doing in there, but we had some fun nights. I'll tell you that.
I think that you got the opportunity not only to play for Torts, but you got the opportunity to get him like coming in mid-season when they fired TR, Tom Rennie. Now, actually, I played for TR, and I love the guy. I think he was like a little ahead of his time almost, where he wasn't mean, and he was very like thoughtful with guys, and I think now that's becoming way more popular, but what a difference. It's like this Rangers team underachieving with this crazy coach. This very chill coach, and Rennie brings in Torts. What do you remember about that year and like how everything just switched?
Yeah, I remember the veteran guys being nervous as hell when Torts came in. I didn't.
And Zherdev?
Yeah, I was young. I had no idea, right? So I was like, whatever. And then Torts came in, and it was completely different. I mean, he played me, which I loved, right? He gave me the opportunity. He gave me a chance. He liked the way I played. So it was definitely a 180. And then that summer we made some moves and got rid of some guys and just changed the whole makeup of that team. And we took on the identity of Torts, and they were calling us the black and blue shirts and everything else. And he just revamped that whole team, and we had a lot of successful years under him.
Any funny Yager Torts back and forth, or was it? He had to understand what he was dealing with.
I think he understood. Yeah, nothing that sticks out between them two, which I guess, Torts has been around for a while at that point too. He knows what he's dealing with. He knows, who Yager is. So no, nothing crazy happened there, but a lot of Torts stories, as you guys know.
Well, you got to see when he was coach. He called you up, and I mean, was that an emotional moment for you? That must have been a huge deal for you.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. So I was going through contract negotiations that summer, and great New York fashion. It's never easy negotiating with Glenn Sather, and we were going through the ringer and getting close to arbitration. And I remember the phone call still. Torts called me, and he's like, "Callie, the team wanted me to call you and ask if you would take this number." I'm thinking to myself, why is he calling me, telling me this, right? But I'm like, no, no chance I'm taking that number. And he's like, yeah, good. I wouldn't fucking take it either if I were you. But anyways, I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be naming you captain, this upcoming year. So you guys better figure out a deal. And wow. I still remember that call, and it was awesome. I mean, I had no idea that it was coming. What an honor to wear the C with that team. And his words of advice were, don't fuck it up. And, hopefully I didn't.
I mean, you had him for most of your time then. Not a coincidence, I guess, that those were your most productive years as a player, huh?
Yeah, there's no coincidence at all. I mean, he was awesome for me, just the way I played. He played the hell out of me, every situation. And it was easy to play for a guy like that. You guys know he cares so much. I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and, he's a truthful, honest guy, which I respected. If you were playing like shit, he was going to tell you, and I respected that, and he played the hell out of me.
What are some funny moments with him? I know at one point he wouldn't allow guys to have cell phones in the locker room.
Yeah, we had a cell phone bag.
What were other crazy things that were going on with Torts as head coach?
Man, there's a lot of stories. Brad Richards came in that year as well, and him and Torts were pretty close. So me and Richie got really close. He was kind of like a little bit of a mentor to me. I'd lean on him because, I was wearing the C, and he's kind of been through it all. He's won a Stanley Cup. And so this one day, me and Richie are at the practice rink. We're sitting in the locker room. It's just me and him sitting there taping our sticks or whatever. So Torts walks in, and he looks at us both, and you could tell from Torts' face if, what kind of mood he's in right away. Right. So he looks at Richie. He goes, Richie, what the fuck is all the potions in your chain stall? We kind of look at each other like, potions, like the potions. He's like, what are the potions doing in your chain stall? And Richie's like, why are you going through my chain stall? And they're going back and forth, and he keeps saying potions, these pills, right? So it's protein shakes and vitamins and things like that, right? So Richie won't answer him at all. All he keeps saying is, why are you going through my chain stall? Did you honestly just walk through my chain stall, right? So Torts is losing. He's like, oh, that's your problem. You stop doing all this stuff, clear your head. And he turns around and he walks out, right? So we're dying laughing, right? So fast forward like 2 weeks, we're at MSG, and I'm in the main room with Richie again. Torts walks through, and we always used to do this. So I go to Torts. I'm like, hey, do you know Richie didn't take any of that stuff out of his stall? He's still taking it. I'm like, it's bugging him. I know it's affected his play, right? So Torts right away flips the switch. Richie, you gotta take that stuff out of your stall. Just stirring it, right? Just stirring it up. Richie's hitting me. He's like, come on. So he's on him, and then all of a sudden Richie flips the script real quick. He's like, Callie, he's like, Torts, do you know that Callie's having a baby during playoffs? Right? So attention directly towards me. He goes, without missing a beat, he goes to me, he goes, Callie, I missed the birth of both my kids. Turns around and he walks out. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I had anxiety the rest of the year that I was going to have a baby during playoffs. But we had fun with him. He was a passionate guy, and he cared, and that was a big part of it.
There's nothing more old school than coaches. I've heard of a couple coaches kind of getting on guys about having kids in season, where it's like, that's where it's gotten now. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe that was a little bit psycho about hockey,
Yeah. But he was, he was a good coach. I loved playing for him.
I was grilling Girardi for questions, and he said that you had a lot of crazy pregame rituals. Just was it superstition? What was it?
Yeah, just superstition, routine. I think like everybody else, right? I had same thing. I would go through your day and everything's the same. And who's he talking about rituals? He's the most OCD
He's going right back at him.
Are you kidding me? He's the most
Rituals and
OCD guy
potions.
ever. Yeah.
Is Girardi all OCD with that stuff?
Oh, he's terrible. He lines up his shin pads, his pants. So we always used to take his stuff and move it. Like I'd move his skate just like a centimeter. And me and Stalzy would watch him walk in and readjust everything. And he was the worst with that stuff. Yeah.
Maybe he went on the offense as far as
He
that.
did. Maybe he knew. Yeah, he knew I'd bring it up. Maybe.
That was a great group of guys there. I mean, Mark Stahl's still in Detroit, but as everyone gets older and Girardi retired, it's like you guys that was a super close team, and then Nash came in as well. Nobody's ever said a bad word about him. It's looking back playing those Rangers teams, it wasn't easy. And MSG, the way that place we got going, it's still my favorite spot to play.
Yeah, we had some really good teams. Like you said, we were tough to play against too, I think, which was the biggest thing. And then we had Gabrick come in as well. He had some really big years there. That place is awesome. I loved playing there.
Hank would be the only guy we haven't talked about who, oh my God, talk about a celebrity star. Oh. He the king of MSG, man.
Well, the best is Hank used to come on the airplane with his full suit and tie on, buttoned up. We had an 8-hour flight and he had a suit and tie the whole time, completely done. So he's on 24/7. I mean, he doesn't shit. He doesn't even shit. No chance. He doesn't smell. He doesn't shit. He takes his gear off, puts his suit on, doesn't stink. I mean, he's the real deal.
No, he's like, I have this special shower. I'm not showering in that thing.
Yeah.
You guys got to do some real cool stuff, like playing for the Rangers. You guys used to do that casino night. You got like some pretty elegant shit. It's like a gala, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was wild. The casino night was a lot of fun. And another thing we did, which was awesome, and forget what year it was. We went on Letterman, a bunch of us, and we actually got to carry down Madonna down on hockey sticks through the crowd and onto the stage. So we're all doing that. So we're getting ready. Madonna's trying to climb up on these hockey sticks, and we're all carrying her, like she's a Greek goddess or whatever. So as she's getting up, she goes, guys, I want you to close your eyes. I'm not wearing any underwear. Right. And all of us.
When does she
Callahan was on the IR with crabs for 2 weeks. He'd fucking
Madonna. She's like, is on me. Is Messier still around? And you're like, oh no, he's been gone for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a fling for a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they
already brought that
back
up
in the early 90s.
I think back to like the time we got to play together in the Olympics, and you and Chris Drury, just the best penalty killing duo you ever could imagine. And like, did you make that team right in the summer? Like, I didn't know. I mean, I made it because Paul Martin got injured, or did you know right away you were on the team?
I found out maybe a week before it was announced, and I think a lot of it was due to Torts. I mean, as you know, he was my promoter when I was there as well. And then I basically just penalty killed with Drew. It was me and you sat in the middle of the bench and we're the bookends and joked
Remember my
and,
meat laps? I think you might have done one with me.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Remember when Torts used to come down and slap me on the back and tell me to go out there for a skate? Yes. So it'd be a TV timeout, right? So me and Win are sitting there just watching the game. TV timeout, and he'd come and slap me on the back, right? So hit me in the back and like, go out there and take a lap. So the first couple of times we're like, no, it's embarrassing. I'm not going out there and taking a lap. This is the Olympics, right?
Did it my whole career.
So you come out, you did it again. So eventually I get over the boards and I go and take a lap. So it got to the point that Whit, Bugsy, see me go out there.
Bobby Ryan,
they start yelling, meat lap. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst, right? So eventually I was proactive about it. I announced it myself before I climbed over, meat lap, That was
he comes in the room, he's like, hey, you're playing in the kids game between periods here. All right.
Exactly.
You and we're gonna lace them up for the Timbits. Let's go. Let's fucking set
I
the
had
tone.
to referee the US Canada mini mic game at intermission. So
he's fighting you guys are wrestling in the sumo outfit. Gotta get more competitive between periods here. Let's get our heads into it.
So a good one about that actually. So it was a gold medal game. Third period, I didn't have one shift, right? So I became a spectator. We were all excited when we scored. We tied it up. I remember being in the room and looking around and be like, holy cow, I got a chance to win a gold medal. My head is completely out of the game, right? Not thinking about a thing, just enjoying the moment. So I always went out before the game started or before the period and sat out in the hallway, like ritual, as you went back to my ritual. So I'm sitting there in the hallway, same thing, not thinking anything. And all of a sudden, Torts comes up to me and goes, hey, Callie, you and Drew are going to be taking the defensive zone draws. blank face.
Oh,
pardon?
Blood rushing through my leg. I couldn't even feel my legs at that point. My back hurt. I'm like, oh my God. Just started doing jumping jacks, squats, anything I could to get going. I think I ended up getting out there for one shift that was, biz length, 10 seconds long. Yeah. Took the draw, got it out, and ran off the ice as fast as I could. But I was like, oh my God, that was the worst feeling ever. It's exciting to play, but.
I remember he said to me, keep the boys loose. I mean, everyone knew I wasn't playing a shift. But I can honestly say, like, at that point in my career, like, I did not want a shift in overtime. I was like, nope. I'd already been the cost of a goal in the first period or the second period, like Petrie scored. I remember being like, please God, don't somehow make me go out there, because it was petrifying. He tells you guys to keep the boys loose. You're doing like the Simple Jack skit in the locker room before overtime starts. Callahan was putting the face paint on the hallway with the foam finger, ready to hop out in the wife section, and I was eating the face paint.
D-zone what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think you and Bugsy kept the room loose. There's no question there. You guys were.
What was Bugsy doing in there?
Just shitting on me.
Oh, you guys were just a comedian show the whole time. Holy cow!
And then Orp was just like these two clouds, because he was always with us in Pitt, but he's like, oh, that was the craziest, best 2 weeks ever. I fucking always think back to Vancouver just being open 24/7.
Oh, that was awesome. That was unbelievable. Complete opposite from what I experienced in Sochi, but yeah Vancouver was amazing.
Cal, you mentioned Shanny a few minutes ago. He was a guy that's still in New York, still playing, still producing, too. A couple of years late in his career, he had over 20 goals. I know he was your favorite player growing up. Was that your first real pinch-yourself moment? You're in a locker room, sharing a locker room with Brendan Shanahan?
Yeah, 100%. As you say, he's my favorite player growing up. Had a poster of him on my wall, walking in. I remember when I first walked in, I think it was one of my first call-ups. He came over. It was probably my first call-up. He come over and introduces himself. Hey, Brendan Shanahan. I'm thinking to myself, like, buddy,
no shit,
bud. You're on my wall growing up. I know who you are. But yeah, he was great with the young guys too. I remember he took, it was me and Girardi or me and Mark Stahl out. We went to Barney's for lunch and to buy a new overcoat, because they were on me about my overcoat. I needed to get a new overcoat. So I'm like, I'll go. I'm thinking this is pretty cool, right? So we go into Barney's, we get lunch, we sit down in the change room, and I've never experienced anything like this before, right? So they offer me a beer as I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I'll have a beer. So we're trying on different coats. I'm like, man, this is it. I've made it.
This is the show.
This is the show. I've finally made it. We're Brendan Shanahan. We're trying coats on, and I don't know why. I probably shouldn't assume this, but I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, he's inviting me out here. He's gonna, he wants to get us a coat, right? So I'm not looking at prices or anything, right? So I'm trying them on. Like, he's like, yeah, that one looks nice. You get that one? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get it. So I go over. We're cashing out $3,000. I'm like, who? I've been on AHL salary this whole time, and I can't say anything at this point. I got to pony up and spend the dough on it, right? So sure enough, signed the check. I remember walking on there and like, oh man, never again.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, bud.
Imagine like just being inside your head. You're like, Shanny, you covering this? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, wait a minute, where are you going? The bill still hasn't been paid.
The bill has been paid. Why are you leaving? Like, but $3,000 for this overcoat. I'm like, oh my God, never again.
Sir, do you want to keep this triple fat goose you walked in with too?
Yeah.
And I also want to bring up a moment. You had your leg broken by Zdeno Chara in a game. You still stayed out there, still playing. Did you know it was actually broken and you just power through it, or is just adrenaline taking over in a situation like that?
Yeah, it was just adrenaline. I mean, obviously it hurt, felt bad. I had no idea it was broken. I got back to the bench, and Torts wanted to throw me out there again for the empty netter, right? And I was waiting for somebody to change. I was going to try to go back out there, but thankfully we got the empty net goal or whatever had me. I didn't go back out, but I didn't know. I had no idea it was broken. Just felt like another block shot. And then sure enough, x-rays came back and it wasn't good, but kind of a cool moment there. And I mean, I've always respected Zdeno Chara huge, but he called Marian Gaborik, who was a teammate at the time, and apologized for, hitting me with the shot. And I'm like, he obviously doesn't have to apologize. I'm the idiot who stepped in front of it. But, Big Z is just such a class act.
Oh, that is a nice gesture.
That's unreal. Listen, I've been holding this one in since we started this. How long after Marchand licked your face could you eventually laugh about it, at the fact that he licked your face?
It's probably after the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's soon.
It was shock. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, how didn't you go after him? I'm like, I'll be honest, I was in shock. I have no idea what just happened, So if you look at the video, I tried to grab him. I needed shoulder surgery at the end of the year. So my right shoulder was pretty much like taped to my side. So it's like an awkward, be like trying to claw at his face awkwardly. I couldn't lift my arm up, but I was just in complete shock. I'm like, this guy just licked my face, and then after the game, my phone just blew up with, everybody pictures and licking my face. I'm like, this is the worst, but yeah.
He just blacked out. He's like, what do I do? I'm too close to him. I'll lick him.
But I heard there was a lot of turmoil in the Bruins room a little bit about it. So I'll take it. It was playoffs. So
people were pissed about that. Like there was a lot of people like that was just so over the line. Like punch him in the face. Don't lick him.
Yeah. I'd rather get speared in the face than that happen.
Yeah.
I could probably respect that a little bit more, but then I remember after the game, I was trying to get him suspended, but that didn't work either.
I was going to ask you, so you laugh about it, and then you're like, I got to beef this up because we could potentially use this to our advantage by getting him sussy for a game. So
100%.
Oh my God, that's classic. Did you talk to any of the coaches or anybody about it before you did it, or you just thought on your own?
No, I did. I was in the training room. Coaches came in, our PR guy came in, and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna try to get him suspended. I'm going to say it's spitting in my face, gross misconduct. Like should be thrown. He could at least get a game out of this.
Put him in jail.
Disgusted. Like he doesn't belong in the game.
You could argue it's worse than spitting in you. It's the same as spitting in your face. It really is.
And to that point, I was trying to get it suspended, but it is. I mean, so then that's what I said in my interview too. I'm like, what's the difference between spitting in my face and licking it? I'm like, it could be worse. So, but it was playoffs and there's no chance they were suspending him.
It was kind of quickly though. That was in Tampa, but I wanted to go over when you were traded. I think it was right around the deadline, and captain of the New York Rangers just totally had no clue, or had you been hearing rumblings? Like, how did that whole day go down?
Yeah, I mean I heard rumblings that whole year.
Okay,
we were in contract talks. We couldn't reach an agreement. I mean, both sides honestly to blame. I came in high, they were in low, and to be honest, that whole year it turned ugly. The negotiations turned really ugly, and it was awful. And it was probably the most least fun I had in a year just because everything that was going on behind the scenes. And we actually reached an agreement on money, and then they wouldn't give me a no move or no trade. And at that point, with the amount of stuff that was going on, they've already threatened to trade me to every other team at that point. They've tried to let me negotiate with other teams at that point. There was no way I was signing a deal and, sign that deal and all of a sudden you're shipped out to somewhere you don't want to be. And then with no protection. And they just gave Girardi 2 weeks earlier, full no trade, no move. So I'm like, this isn't happening, So going to rink that day, I knew that I was probably going to get dealt. Obviously it was a shock when it happened. I was sitting in the training room and we're watching, TSN Trade Center, and Bob McKenzie, sure enough, pops up and says Callahan's been traded for, Marty St. Louis. And then simultaneously our PR guy walked in and it's like, Slats wants to see you in the lounge. So it was tough. It was a tough conversation. It was emotional. I loved my time in New York. I said it during that whole time. I didn't want to go anywhere, but it also came back to the pride thing, that, I've been shit on so many times throughout my career. I earned the spot where I was. You see them bringing in free agent after free agent and paying them.
I'm the captain.
I've put my time in here. Why do I have to be the one that has to take the big discount to stay here? So, I mean, foolish pride, I guess, looking back, but at the same time, it's, I felt like I deserved that and deserved the no move.
Not to mention though, sorry, Vince, just quick. It was your one, you had waited your chance. This was your payday. It's like,
exactly. Yeah. I waited my chance, waited your payday, and, who knows when that's going to come again. So it's, that was a tough year. A lot of stuff went behind the scenes that year that were kind of nasty that, led up to it.
So in the midst of it, was it ever you sitting down with them and expressing your side and they were expressing theirs? Or was it always kind of like this chain of like over to the agent to you to the agent, back to them?
No, it got close. I mean, it was phone calls, 10 o'clock at night. I'd get phone calls. I mean, right from Glen Sather, and it was, it got, agents even weren't involved at some points, and I kept trying to push it off saying, call my agent. I don't want to be involved in this. Call my agent, cause I'm trying to worry about the year too. And the way I'm playing. And
Why do you think he's thinking that
he can get you to agree to something?
Exactly.
To get you emotionally invested.
Invested. Yeah. And you say things and try to do things to make me sign a deal. And, I didn't appreciate that. I obviously wish they went through my agent and things like that, but it was part of it and then part of the negotiations. And, at the end of the day, that stuff kept building up and put more of a chip on my shoulder, to want to, get that deal or whatever.
That's why your shoulder was so fucked up. Too many fucking chips on it.
Fucking shoulders. That's why it was both surgeries.
The little claw by the angle. Jesus Christ. Spread the chips around.
So I ended up going to Tampa, and it was I couldn't ask for a better place than that. I mean, that was awesome. Tampa I knew was in the mix, and obviously because Marty wanted to come to New York and everything else. But earlier in that year, Tampa reached out and tried to get a deal done with me, and we couldn't come to terms on a deal. And during this whole trading thing, we told them what we wanted. It was, we couldn't come to terms. So I thought Tampa was completely dead. I didn't think that was going to happen. And then all of a sudden that's where I'm going. So I went from that stressfulness to wearing my flip flops and shorts and t-shirt and walk into the rink. So I felt like I was on vacation for 3 months.
I was going to say, you get to Tampa and the coach, John Cooper, he's waiting at the baggage claim for you, like a limo driver. Did he have a little sign with your name on it too?
Exactly. I know. I wasn't expecting that either, coming from that stressfulness situation. And I walked down and he's waiting for me at baggage claim, which was just was a huge gesture by him to come do that.
Was it kind of was there a deal signed right after the trade, or was it still not until that summer?
Still not to that summer. So,
okay.
So I went through that, and in my head I was like, I'm going to free agency. I just went through that hell. There's no chance I'm not going to free agency. So as time went on in Tampa, I saw the team we had there, how talented they were, what life was like in Tampa. Just took in the whole thing, and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere, I don't think, guys. So we ended up getting a deal done, and I waited, I think it was like 24 hours before I could start talking to other teams. And Stevie Y started to put a little bit of pressure on us, obviously, wanting to get the deal done before I could talk to other teams. And I'm like, I've been through enough of this. I like it there. I want to be there. The deal's good. And we signed it.
No state tax.
No state tax.
Did you know that before going there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Same here.
You know how it is, Biz. The
Same
teams
here.
that have no state tax.
Yep.
Right when he lost that double credit card game and got sent to the minors, he's like, where do I not have to pay state tax someday?
Exactly. Hey, Stevie Y, though, what a G. We joke around about him all the time on the podcast. What was he like behind the scenes?
Awesome. I mean, he was the best. I mean, how you would imagine, right? He played the game, did so much. It's hard not to be starstruck by a guy like him, watching him grow up as well. But ultimate professional, easy to work with, easy to talk to. And you see the team that he built there in Tampa. Not too bad of a general manager either.
Well, that first year
transition,
the first year of the new deal, I mean, what a team that was. And you guys go all the way to the Cup Finals, run into Chicago. But you look at the team that just got it done in Tampa. I mean, so many of them were there then. It was like it took them a while, 6 years, but it ended up happening. I'm sure you weren't surprised at all to see that go down.
No, not at all. I mean, to be honest, I thought we should have won that series against Chicago. I think was
that game 6?
Game 6, yeah. We're up 2-1 in that series. We ended up losing game 1. We lost by a goal. We outshot them by like 30. Even talking to some of those players like Richie and some of the guys I know in Chicago, they're like, we probably didn't deserve that one. Looking back at the series, which is even tougher to handle, but
yeah.
But yeah, we had a good team, and then we went to 2 more conference finals with that team, lost to game 6 and a game 7 of the conference finals, back-to-back years there, that we could have went on. So it was right there. And for whatever reason, we just didn't get it done. And last year, it seemed like everything just came together. The way they ran through the playoffs was remarkable. It was unbelievable.
Did it ever concern you that they would maybe gas Coop just because of the amount of pressure and expectations and all those years of landing short? Or did you just see them sticking with him all the way through?
No, I saw him sticking with them. I mean, we had too good of a team. We had good regular seasons. I mean, we had good playoffs. We lose, we were one win away 2 times from going back to the Stanley Cup Finals, so, I didn't see them moving away from him at all.
During that 2015 run, you played a couple days after getting an appendectomy. Did doctors advise against doing that, or did they say it was okay to do?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I think the team docs didn't really care what I did. You were playing in that game, and it's funny. I mean, we were playing the New York Rangers. Funny enough, going to MSG for game one, and I'm like, there is no chance I'm missing this game. And talking to some of the guys in New York, they're like, yeah, G, Stalzy, guys that I knew, they're like, yeah, guys were talking in the room thinking you weren't going to play, and we were laughing at them like, Callie will be playing in the game. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like everybody else, everybody plays through injuries. It's nothing special. You hear the stories come out after the year, and yeah, so I had to get back in there at MSG.
The year that you did get dealt, it was Kucherov's rookie year. So you got to kind of see this guy who, I mean, forget just his ability on the ice, but off the ice, he seems like a character. Like right away, you able to tell this is a future superstar, or was it just kind of like who knows at that point?
It was kind of a who knows his first year. He was kind of in and out of the lineup. I remember. I was only with him for 3 months, but him and Coop didn't see eye to eye. Right away. He wasn't. He wasn't
standoffish, right? Even as a young kid.
Very standoffish, and they didn't see. I didn't know what was going to happen with him. You could see he was talented and he was good, but I think that following year they got him committed a little bit more to taking a little bit more responsibility with the puck, and his confidence just grew and grew and grew. And I mean, you've seen what he's turned into, and then obviously, I mean, you didn't really see much of his off ice antics until after they won the Stanley Cup there, and oh my God, I was dying when he had the owner Jeff Vinnick there, kissing him and everything else. I was dying, but the boys enjoyed themselves. There's no question.
I got told by Girardi to ask you about Tony T.
Oh boy,
who is Tony T? He wouldn't tell me either.
So Tony T is, I guess, my alter ego. That's what the boys called me that in New York. It started with actually Gomer started that. Tony Tough Nuts is what it stands for. So I guess I'll tell a story. How that all started was. We're at a bar. We're at some nightclub. It was my first year, or maybe my second year in the league. Gomer's there, and I'm sitting. We got table service, right? So we're sitting there, and I'm sitting at a table, and I keep watching this girl, and she's coming over and having drinks, right? So I'm like, why she keep coming getting drinks? So I'm watching her closely. So she's getting drinks, and she's bringing them over to her guy friends, right? And handing out drinks to these guys that we have no idea who they are, right? So I've probably had one too many at that point. I was overserved by the bartender, obviously. So she comes over and she goes to grab a drink, and I lose. I'm like, get out of here. It's like, there's no chance. We're not giving him drinks. So the guys come walking over. I'm like, get out of here. Like, we're not giving you guys drink. I've been watching you all night. So the guys come over, like calm me down. And ever since then, Gomer's called me Tony Tough Nuts. And I might have had one or two incidents more like that where, my emotions have gotten the better of me. And
Gomer's like, I'm paying for it anyways. Fuck, relax, Callie.
Yeah,
exactly.
We've all fell prey to the clucks. They're blucking around in the club, and they come over and weasel a bottle away. Next thing you know, you're fucking tab. You're calling your credit card company so you can bump up your max.
I just got hit with a $3,000 coat tab. I was nervous I was going to have to pick up that bill. Yeah. But so they called me Tony in New York, and then obviously nobody in Tampa called me that, and then G signed there, and sure enough, he brought it over and got it going again. So
Tony T.
Yeah, there was like a Rangers to Tampa shuttle there for a couple of years. It seemed like you guys were all ended up down there. What surprised you most about hockey in Tampa, Ryan?
I think the support. I mean, I had no idea that community enjoyed their team as much as they did, supported as much as they did. I'd go there and they'd be sellouts, but a lot of it'd be Ranger fans, right? So I had no clue. And the way they embrace their team in that community is wild. So, I mean, you saw the parade and on the water and everything else. That's probably what surprised me the most about that team.
Yeah, they got a pretty good thing down there. They have pretty much since the outset. It's nice to see that people are finding that out, even if it's a couple decades later.
Hey,
how about that awkward pause?
Did I drop out?
Hey, no, but I think it's fair to ask. How much can you put on the guys being able to like live in a city and dominate like they do in the NHL, but yet like go out and really not get bothered? Because you went from the extreme of playing in New York to seeing the way the Stars are treated and what they can quote unquote get away with where they live in Tampa.
I'll be honest with you, Biz. I think it was worse in New York than it wasn't, or worse in Tampa than it was in New York. You're just getting seen of who you are, knowing who you are, being out. People spotting you.
New York's too big.
New York's
really okay.
New York's
unless
so
you're
big.
Hank.
Yeah, I mean it's a different story, but mean, you can fly under the radar in New York if you want to, I mean, obviously you could go to spots and be spotted if you want to be spotted, but there's so many spots and areas. And even when fans did see in New York, it was more just a hey than anything. Where we're in Tampa, I don't know what the reason is, but you get spotted a lot more at restaurants. People come up to you. They want to talk to you. They just got that relaxed Florida vibe to them or whatever it is, for autographs or whatever. So people ask me that, but I think it was worse in Tampa, being spotted and people recognize you than it was in New York.
Interesting.
I think New York has that almost like you're too cool to recognize famous people. Like they don't want to do it and almost like give in to celebrities. That's like the vibe up there, I think, a little too.
Well, I thought you got recognized at MSGRA, didn't you? Wasn't that when you saw Nate? Or was that at the Garden?
Actually, that was at the TD Garden, but it happened in Manhattan too. So,
who did it happen to? Where did you get recognized? In
just
Manhattan?
random walking down the street when we're working down headquarters. I'll get stopped on a random street in Manhattan.
Suck it, Callie.
That's kind of crazy.
You're bigger than the New York Ranger captain. Look at that.
Yeah, right.
He's had some contract disputes with Barstool as well, so I guess it does go hand in hand. When you ended up, having to retire, and it was just recent, kind of officially announcing it, a lot goes into like your back and the degenerative back issues you had. Like, when did that start? And when did you realize, oh my God, like this is way worse than maybe I originally thought?
Yeah, I've dealt with it the last kind of 2-3 years of my career. I've noticed it a little bit throughout my career, but I thought it was just, normal back stuff. And then that last year I was in Tampa, it got to a point where I was waking up in the morning, no idea how I was going to feel if I could get out of bed. It would come out of nowhere. So there'd be times where I'd take pregame skate, feel fine, go home, take a nap, get out of my car at the rink, and all of a sudden my back's locking up on me. So, it just got so frustrating. I didn't know what to expect. So to be honest, I thought I was going to be able to get it fixed. I thought I'd, like everything else, pop in and get surgery or whatever it is and get it fixed. And at the end of the year, we went to a bunch of different specialists and everybody kept saying the same thing: degenerative disc disease. The only fix is a fusion, which I wasn't at the point of needing a fusion yet. And even if I did, I couldn't continue playing with a fusion. So everybody's like, either you deal with it, and try to keep playing, or, that's it. And, after what I went through that last year, there was no way I was playing, So, but yeah, it was hard. It was a tough pill to swallow, but, I kind of, the writing was on the wall. I was coming towards the end of my career. Obviously, everybody wants to go out on their own terms, but once I came to terms with it, it was easy to accept.
Was it an emotional day? I remember I've told the story before, calling my dad and kind of breaking down, telling him I was retiring. Like, similar stuff for you, where you're talking to your family and it's hitting you pretty hard.
Yeah, it was. It was tough. And that last year in Tampa was a frustrating year for me too. The playoffs, the way that went. So, and the way my back felt too, like I was explaining to you, it almost got to the point too where it was almost relief. I was kind of like, I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. Like, I don't have to worry about how I'm feeling each day, each hour,
Putting heat packs all over your body.
How I'm skating in practice. Like in practices that last year, I tried not to move that much. You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't want to tweak it. So
Yager practice.
Exactly. Where's my tee? I should have got a tee set on the board.
Your meditation. You had the yoga mat on the ice.
Yeah. So it was more of a relief than anything. And then I think when it got hard was when training camp started again. And all of a sudden I was living in Tampa that year too, last year, and everybody's talking about the team and stuff. I'm still seeing the guys, hanging out with them a bit, away from the rink, and then training camp starts and you're like, shit, I'm not there. Like, what am I doing? Like, what I mean? So it's, that was the hard part, I think, was once it started again.
Well, fuck. Go ahead.
I just have one more. In 5 years, Ryan, are you working in media or in a front office somewhere?
That's a great question. You know what? This media thing's going well. I'm enjoying it, but I think my ultimate goal, maybe, if who knows, but I'd like to be with a team, be in the thick of it again. Be behind the lines and be a part of something where you're trying to win again. My competitive nature, gets the best of me. So, hopefully that's something down the road, but right now I'm enjoying the media.
This guy and Chris Drury were like the penalty killing Bash brothers. So wherever Drury ends up as GM, that's where we'll see Callie in the front office. Yeah. That's the guarantee nice right there. That's the witty call coming in from. What the fuck am I trying to say? I don't know. Callie, thanks for coming though. Thanks for coming on the show.
This was awesome, buddy.
This is great.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on. Took you long enough to ask me, but thanks for having me on.
Seriously, I was fucking afraid that you
were waiting for the official retirement announcement. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if we get Girardi on, what should we ask him?
Well, I'll ask him about his OCD-ness and scheduling and everything else. I mean, I got one last quick one for you. So about his scheduling. So me, Salzy, and Girardi are out to dinner. It's probably March, right? So yeah, February, March time. And he looks at us, he's like, hey guys, do you think I can get a ride to the rink? And we kind of like, yeah, like when? He's like, next year during training camp. Me and the wife were talking, and I think we're going to leave one of our cars at home, and we're only going to ship one car down at the start. So like the first 4 days of training camp, do you think you can give me a ride? I'm trying to plan it. We look at each other like, what the hell is wrong? So that's how bad he is. He was planning in March what he was going to do with his cars come training camp time and who was going to drive into the rink. Meanwhile, we all live in the same building. So, I mean, it's not like we're driving an hour out of our way to bring him, but.
So this guy's out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Realistically, he could have asked you the morning you were leaving next September.
Realistically, yeah. He could have knocked on my door that morning, or just be standing by my car, and I would have took him. Yeah,
that's a guy who definitely makes lists every day post retirement, like what I need to get done. It's like wake up, eat, count my money.
Hey, would you guys ever rag on him about the tribal / what was it, barbed wire tattoo?
Yeah, we ragged on him a bit about that. Yeah, I heard you ragged on him pretty bad. Yeah, I heard you were. We used to always rag on him. Yeah.
Oh, I got some bad tattoos, so I'll chirp myself. But holy shit, that might go down as the worst collaboration. And
I was there for a golf tournament. I ran into you. Right, I was at a golf tournament in Welland area. Right, we saw you and we were talking to you, and then we left. And she's like, "Yeah, he's always on me about my tattoo." So you got to him. There's no question.
It's the Monster Energy special, so maybe he won't come on. Maybe that's why he's avoiding us.
Probably is.
Anyway,
hey, congrats on seriously, what a career you had, dude, and we appreciate you joining us. So good luck with everything moving forward.
Awesome, boys. Same to you. Thanks for having me
on. Congrats on a great career, buddy.
Big thanks to Ryan Callahan for jumping on and joining us, man. Congrats on a great career. Great guy. It was a great interview, too. Hopefully you folks enjoyed it. Hey, guys, Valentine's Day is coming up, and for a lot of guys, that can mean added pressure to perform. Luckily, with Roman, you can relax. Whether you're dealing with ED or you're more concerned about lasting longer in bed, Roman's got you covered. For a limited time, Roman has special offers to make sure you're ready for Valentine's Day. Get up to $35 off your first month of ED treatment if prescribed, and if you purchase swipes, you'll get a free bottle of lube added to your order while supplies last. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. It's one less thing you need to worry about on Valentine's Day, fellas. You're already doing restaurants and cars and moving around and Ubers and all that stuff. Well, let Roman take care of the rest. Once again, for a limited time, get up to $35 off your first month of ED treatment if prescribed. And if you purchase swipes, you'll get a free bottle of lube added with your order while supplies last. Complete your online visit by February 10th for guaranteed delivery by Valentine's Day. Just go to GetRoman.com/chiclets to get started. That's GetRoman.com/chiclets. Definitely check that stuff out, guys. You don't want to have an unhappy lover on Valentine's Day for sure. All right, moving right along here. Saturday afternoon, I paired up with the Rink Shrinks, Mike Motto and Brian Yandel. They were doing a live stream telethon for AJ Quetta, who was the Rhode Island hockey player who was injured. A couple weeks back, he suffered a spinal injury, so the Rink Shrinks decided to do a telethon Saturday, and I was honored to be asked to do it. We raised over $21,000 during the couple of hours we did it. If you'd like to donate as well, it's aj10.org. I know there's a lot of people asking for help these days, but this is a situation where a family's going to need a lot of help with medical bills because, unfortunately, a lot of things don't get covered. So, again, he was a high school hockey player from Rhode Island. He was injured at a game in Massachusetts, and, him and his family are going to have a bit of a struggle ahead financially. So if you can help, aj10.org. Whit, I know you want to mention something here with the Bruins as well.
Yeah, I talked to Bob Sweeney, who he played for the Bruins, and the Sabres had a long NHL career. He's now the president of the Boston Bruins Foundation, and he had two things he was hoping I could mention gladly for this kid and his family. The first is it's a 50-50 that the Bruins Foundation will be holding. It's actually this one's only for Massachusetts residents, but you can purchase the 50-50 raffle tickets between now and the third period of Saturday, February 13th game. That's at bostonbruins.com/tickets. 50/50. So get into that. Right now it's over, I think, 70,000. Should be up to 100K by the time the raffle ends or the winner's pick. So that's a good chunk of change. All the proceeds going to AJ and his family. And the other one that anyone can get involved in is the NHL stick and jersey auction for AJ. So the hockey world's come together completely, as they always do. It's such a strong-knit community. Sticks and jerseys featured in this auction were donated from players and teams all across the league. So I think that players are reaching out and really want to help out this kid and what he's gone through. So I think that I'm saying this, and the Bruins Foundation would say the same thing, that they really appreciate the participation from all the teams and players and all the fans who are looking to get involved. And all the benefits will also go to the AJ Credit Fund, and that's www.bruinsauctions.org. That auction actually closes February 11th at 10 a.m., so hop on that thing today as you're listening Tuesday. I think you got 1 or 2 more days, but let's try to help out somebody who's going through it's a really, really difficult thing to watch, and we talked about Travis Roy and his legacy, and let's try to help out AJ as much as we can. And RA, that was great. You went on with the ring shrinks. You did a hell of a job, and I want to shout out Brian Yandel and Mike Motto for doing that and raising a bunch of money on Friday night.
It's awesome. Great work, RA.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. And well said, Whit. Hopefully, if you folks can help out, please do. Like I said the other day, no amount is too small, no amount is too high.
And that Bruins auction, there's some pretty sick superstar players, sticks, jerseys. Get on there and check it out, along with the 50/50 for Mass residents, you bunch of mass holes.
Let's do it.
All right, moving right along. Beijing is going to use a North American-sized ice for the Olympic hockey. God willing, if we do get it, assuming it takes place. But this is a big deal because we've always talked about the difference in play on an Olympic ice service, and now they're going to kind of shrink it. I don't know what the particular reason is, but also Doug Armstrong was named as the GM of Team Canada. Don Sweeney named as one of his assistants. Wait, what's your take on the ice?
Well-deserved for Doug Armstrong on what he's done throughout his career, and I think that the ice is great because these NHL guys, bigger ice is cool, but it also can create less offense, as hard as that is to believe. You're able to kind of just like pack it in a little bit and let guys stay to the outside, and I think the action's better with how good and fast these guys are on the NHL-sized arena. And you saw the same was in Vancouver. I believe it was just there. They didn't make the rink any bigger, so you saw how good those games were. And shout out, I love this episode. We get to talk a little bit about the possibility of the 2022 Best in the World on Best in the World, whereas Johnny Goudreau mentioned he hopes to make Team USA. I think you're good there, Johnny. You can watch Friends the whole flight to China, and I really, really hope this ends up going down. Who knows what's going on? I know that it'll actually be Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics back-to-back or whatever it is because of the delay of last year's Summer Games. But that tournament could be really special for us as a podcast, for hockey fans everywhere. All we want is a best on best, and I think we're going to get it.
I think Olympic ice is the biggest joke ever.
Same here.
Like you said, everyone just skates to the perimeter. There's not as much scoring chances. You could just avoid it. It turns
no physicality,
and it turns into way more to soccer than actually hockey because it's all about possession.
Chelsea.
Oh, nothing there. Okay, let's throw it back to the D-man, regroup. Okay, nothing there. Okay, let's bring it back again. So it's a no-brainer going to North American ice, and I think that even a lot of places overseas have started shrinking it. I don't think they're at North American size yet, but there's like a level between Olympic size and a North American size. So at least it's a better median, but that's the way all the best players in the world are playing in the NHL. You might as well use that size ice sheet.
Yeah, hopefully we will get the Olympics because that's what we've been waiting for. But obviously COVID's kind of dictating the pace of the planet right now, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. All right, gang. Hey, everybody wants to keep their home and family safe, especially if you're going to be holed up streaming Friends for a couple days like Johnny G. Whether it's from break-in, a fire, flooding, or a medical emergency, Simply Safe Home Security delivers award-winning 24/7 protection. With Simply Safe, you don't just get an arsenal of cameras and sensors, you get the best professional monitors in the business. They've got your back day and night, ready to send police, fire, or EMTs when you need them most straight to your door. Not only was it simple to hook up, the equipment is top-notch and the footage is perfect. Again, I'm not a tool guy, but this stuff was simple. You can do it too. It's wicked easy. Simply Safe has an arsenal of sensors and cameras that protect every inch of your home. You can set it up yourself in about 30 minutes. It's so easy. And then Simply Safe's professionals take over, monitoring your home 24/7 and ready to send help the moment there's an alarm. Plus, with Simply Safe, there's no long-term contract, hidden fees, or installation costs. Right now, our listeners get a free home security camera when you purchase a SimpliSafe system at simplysafe.com/chiclets. You also get a 60-day risk-free trial, so there's nothing to lose. Visit simplysafe.com/chiclets. That's SIMPLISAFE.com/chiclets, CHICLETS, for your free security camera today. That's simplysafe.com/chiclets. Boys, I'm not sure if there was an additional camera on him, but how about Gritty getting painted like the scene from the Titanic during the Bruins-Flyers game the other night? I don't know if you saw it. He comes out in a gown, like a nightgown, and drops it just like Kate Winslet in Titanic, sprawls out, and then he tweets, "Paint me like one of your French Johns," like that Philly word, JAWN. I mean, you would have thought the appeal of Gritty might have worn off by now.
No.
But it hasn't. Like, this guy just zigs when you think he's going to zag, Biz.
I'm not crazy about his belly button. I don't know what they got going on there, which grosses me out a little bit. But they must have a whole team around it, and they're just constantly thinking of new ideas how to keep him fresh in everybody's mind. And I love it. I think it's great for a game. And do you like him, Whit? You a big fan of Gritty?
I am a fan of Gritty. I think he's the perfect representation of like a junky Philly trash bag, and he shows the passion, and he has these original moments like getting painted. And Kevin Hayes is in him, like, they spend like holidays together and stuff. I think that he's going to caddy for Kevin all summer at OS. So I think he's an awesome mascot. I really do.
Yeah,
the Philadelphia, the Phillies guy, what's his name? The Fanatic.
The Philly Fanatic.
Like, it's very. I always thought he was the best baseball one, and they've really kind of grown a little bit with the Gritty. It's like he's similar. He's just like on a harder drug than the Fanatic. Like, the Fanatic's on like shrooms and Gritty's on heroin. It's like,
Yeah.
Gritty's getting it done. The other big sports news out of the weekend, boys, we buried this one for the end. Jose Canseco fought in Rough and Rowdy. He fought Billy Football, the former intern at Pardon My Take. I mean, what a fucking disaster for Jose Canseco. I mean, you would have thought he'd come out and throw a punch or whatever. He took a fucking dive. I mean, I don't know if he took two solid shots from Billy, not dissing Billy. Billy come out firing. But Jose just fell in the corner and covered up and turtled. Absolute embarrassment, but I suppose he got the last laugh because he made a nice little payday for himself.
So there was no morality clause in the contract that he signed. So Portnoy ended up tweeting out after the fight, I think the next day, that through everything, and he was guaranteed if it was the biggest pay-per-view that Barstool had ever gotten at Rough and Rowdy, he got another bonus. So I think altogether, Portnoy said they paid him $1 million to fight for 10 seconds, take a dive. He said it was his shoulder, which I'd imagine with all the steroids he's taken and him chucking weights, I would imagine his shoulders aren't the best. But nonetheless, a complete fucking fleece job by Jose Canseco, Whit.
Fleece job. I was talking to Dave about it in Detroit. He said he actually doesn't think that he went into the fight thinking I was going to take a dive, but the minute that Billy Football ran at him, and like Dave made the funniest point, he couldn't even get through the fucking ring, dude. He couldn't even get through the ropes to get into the ring. Like right away, it's like, oh my God, yeah, you're 270, but you move like a Mack truck. And Billy Football came at him so hard that then he was probably like, oh my God, done, shoulder, complain, no, he won. Now, what's interesting is they were announcing the entire Rough and Rowdy that they were smashing their viewerships, like that it was crushing it. So Jose Canseco knew before his fight, if he'd been listening to the other fights, that he already was going to get his rev share. And then I think Portnoy sent a tweet out something where it's like, why are you putting him on blast or saying what he made? And he's like, because I want people to know how much they can make if they do a fight with us. And if we want you to fight with us, like, you're going to get paid. So I think that it makes sense. And in the end, Barstool, like, people are saying, oh, he owned you guys. It's like, they made like millions of dollars on the pay-per-view. Yeah, Jose, he ended up pulling a slime bag move. But it still was a successful night for the company.
Still some great entertainment as well. Frank the Tank was great.
That knockout too was sick.
The fastest knockout in rough and Rowdy history was pretty gnarly. And then they had two. What do you call them? Smaller people? Do you call them dwarfs? Is midgets an okay term now? RA, help me out.
Either dwarves or little people, and then there are some who, don't mind the term midget for themselves, like our friends are. But generally, in a mixed crowd, you usually go at little people.
So they had a little bit of everything. And then the ring girls.
I'm going to, people all over me, nobody cares about soccer. Any fucking asshole out there who tweets to me they don't care about soccer, I'm only going to talk about it more. Chelsea's on fire. They hired a new manager from Germany. They gassed their former legend. They hired this new manager. They haven't lost. They've gotten, I think, like 9 of a possible 11 points, whatever it is, 10 of a possible 12. I will be going to New York City for the live stream of Chelsea Arsenal, which is Za and Troops' team, who sucks. They stink. Chelsea's right at 5th. These guys are in 10th. They suck. It's in the middle of May or end of May. I will be there. I'll get to experience a little Za and Troops live stream action.
What's been the difference with the new coach, or just...
So he's changed a lot of different things. I mean, he's totally changed the lineup in a sense where he's gotten more out of this Timo Werner, who's a huge signing from Germany. This guy's German. He looks way better. This guy, he still hasn't scored in like 3 months, but the team just looks awesome. They're playing different. They have this Mason Mount guy. He's so nasty. He's been playing for Chelsea since he was 6 years old. How cool is that? The whole English Premier, like what they do in terms of the academies, and they have under 8 teams, under 10, under 12, and there's like... You grow up and you want to play for your high school hockey team if you're in Minnesota, or, you want to play on a college hockey team. These kids are playing for the team where their just dream is to be on the senior team someday. And so the whole like way they go about producing athletes in England is awesome. I'm all in. And if you don't like soccer, you're such a joke of a person. Keep sitting there watching hockey and hockey only, and don't learn anything else about life and sports, you fucking losers.
Well, speaking of soccer, Whit, I know we mentioned Ted Lasso before. I know you started it, but did you go back to restart it?
I did not. I'm in Florida, so it's golf, and then getting ready for the pod, watching hockey. I was talking to Chief about that. He's like, "Do you watch any shows?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I will give it a shot though." All
right, yeah. I still get a lot of people replying that on the recommendations they watch it and they enjoyed it. And just to go back to Rough and Rowdy bits for a sec, yeah. I'm glad you said how entertaining it was. As much as the Canseco fight stunk because he took a dive, you get your $20 worth 10 times over when you watch that broadcast. 2.5 hours of just straight comedy. I mean, there's no other media company with a collection of people like Barstool Contrato for an event like that. And as far as Canseco, man, how much money has he fucking blown? I mean, how much did he make?
I think I looked at it. I think he made just under $50 million in his career, but between divorces and legal battles and stuff, I think he's pretty much pissed it all away, which is. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, if he had a flight out West Virginia.
I wonder if he would go back if he wouldn't have... Like, he kind of became a joke when he wrote Juiced. Like, that was kind of like the end... Well, no, I guess he became a joke when the home run went off his head and out of the stadium. Yeah. That might have been when he became a joke. But, like, Juiced was just... He's like... He threw everyone under the bus. It's just like... Then it was just like, you're a loser. And I know he needed the money at the time, but what a bum. What an absolute bum.
Speaking of throwing people under the bus, so Screech ended up passing away as well. The guy from Saved by the Bell, Whit. And
yeah, if I heard what's true is true. That's really sad. Did you hear like?
Yeah, it was apparently it was something. Yeah, the whole way it went down. But going back, he wrote like a tell-all book about everyone from Saved by the Bell. I didn't even know about this, and I guess he lied about everything in the book, and then they released it. He made some money, and then ended up coming out afterward and saying, "Yeah, I lied, made up a bunch of the stories." And this guy had quite the what's the word I'm looking for? It was basically
tough run. He was in like porn.
Yeah, he filmed his own porn movie and hired a few girls, and it was sad what fame did to him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you're so young, you see so many of these child actors, and the thing is for him, like he had a big lump in his neck, and so he ended up passing away, and he wouldn't even go get it checked out because he was so afraid of somebody getting a picture and then him being the running joke once again online, and he ended up dying, So it's like, first of all, it shows how miserable and mean people can be online, but it's also like, dude, when it comes to your health, you can't give a shit what anyone thinks about anything. You got to get checked out. So it was really sad to know that if he'd gone in way sooner and he hadn't been so self-conscious, maybe he'd still be around, because no matter how tough the guy's life was, I mean... Geez, I wish he was still alive. I don't know him, but it was definitely a tough scene. And for child actors, the more of them are messed up in adulthood than doing well, I would say.
Yeah, you could never.
I would never, ever put my kid into acting at a young age. Like I think that's tapped. And I know there's times that family members and parents do it. They need money. They got a good looking kid. All of a sudden, somebody's like, "Yeah, give him a chance." But you are setting your kid up for failure by doing that.
It's funny you brought that up. If you are considering putting your kid in showbiz, I highly recommend this documentary on HBO. It dropped, I believe, late last year. It's called Showbiz Kids, directed by Alex Winter from Bill and Ted's fame. Yeah, he's a great director, Alex Winter. And it doesn't come out and tell you what and what not to do, but the message is certainly implied when you watch the documentary. Like, some kids are successful and some kids aren't, but there's a fucking lot of ugliness behind the scenes. And, a lot of these kids end up fucking like damaged or broken or, and for those who are successful, even if they still have a lot of issues, because it's not a normal thing for a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old kid to be working, let alone working 60 hours a week and having people watch them. It's such a crazy, unique business. But yeah, Showbiz Kids, I highly recommend it. It's just a good doc on its own, let alone if you're contemplating sticking your kids in showbiz or not. But it's very interesting.
Do you ever watch those ones, the reality shows of the kids doing the pageants and stuff?
Oh, I've seen Honey BB or whatever, Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah,
that was sad. That's like me calling it. I'm a starfish. But I think that like. If you seriously think about what your kid should be doing at 9 years old, it's like
eating his boogers,
playing catch with his dad, eating his boogers, playing with a Barbie doll, like memorizing lines. Fuck you.
Yeah, and they actually, they interview a bunch of former stars, like child stars, and they actually have one kid who's currently like 9 or 10 years old, and he's kind of like the modern day kid they follow, and that was probably the most interesting part of it, because you have these parents who are doing great things on a whim of a 9-year-old kid, like taking loans out and moving the family here, and it's like all because
no pressure.
Says, I want to act.
Yeah,
and
no
it's like,
pressure.
And then they put the kid out there, and it's like the kid really not that talented, so you might want to fucking do this before you remortgage the house. But Biz, just go back to Canseco for a minute. What do you think the odds are of when he got paid? He called up his money guy. I was like, put it all in GameStop and AMC right now.
And what's this Dodge stock? DOGE?
Dogecoin, baby. Dogecoin. Buy it.
I don't really understand it, but basically a bunch of Redditors were finding out stocks that all these hedge funds were shorting, and then they turned the tables, right? Is that a pretty accurate assessment? How did you guys feel about all this? Did you pay attention to it, Whit?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard not to. I don't really understand, and I'm sure there's a hedge fund guy or finance person who could explain why, but I don't really understand why you're allowed to short stocks. It seems like kind of an odd game. Now, I think there's probably arguments to why it happens, but I mean, it's very powerful for a huge hedge fund to all of a sudden short businesses, and like they can bury a business. They can really make it worth less. And you just saw the common man really flip the table on these hedge funds. I was told that there was hedge funds that lost $1 billion every $12 like GameStop was going up. So, the issue, like Robinhood ended up like screwing over the customers and breaking what they kind of like said was their like goal as a company was to allow any person to trade, and all of a sudden it was like no, you can only sell it, you can't buy more, and it really did look sketchy. Portnoy went on a bunch of different talk shows and kind of explained how he thought it was so fraudulent and there was some scumbag stuff going on. I would not bet against that. I mean, it's like the man, or what do you call it, the system, you can't beat them, right? They just turned the game in their favor right when they wanted to, and it fucked a lot of people. And the scary thing was like, I think a lot of people probably got in a little bit late to GameStop, and then like they really got screwed. There's probably people who lost a lot of money in that. I just don't get how you don't, if you're going to make trading for everyone, you have to make it fair. It has to be on equal ground, and I think there'll be tons of different what do you call it, like what are they, Senate hearings, and maybe there will be some regulations that come about this. But what a crazy time. I love The Big Short. It's a great movie.
Unreal.
I really enjoyed it, and I think that this whole scenario from last week will make for an even better movie at some point.
Yeah, Biz, I'm not surprised by anything shady when it comes to the stock market and finance stuff. It's to me, it's always been a rigged game. Like, I think the idea that you're going to go on in and out in a couple days and make money in the stock market, that's a little Pollyanna-ish. Like, it's not set up that way. Did people get fucked? I don't know. I didn't read the particulars on, when you sign up for Robinhood, when everybody signs terms and services or terms of service, whatever. It might have been somewhere in that, and people just don't read those. So they might have said it gets to a certain point, that's going to happen. But if it didn't, nothing surprises me. The fact that, we're going to get fucked here, let's change the game. that doesn't surprise me at all when you're dealing with Wall Street. And it's like they can't rig. It's like those guys can't rig the game. Only we can rig the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. That's what it felt like, and that's why I wasn't surprised, man. When you mess with Wall Street, it's a soulless fucking place with lacking morals. So nothing surprising.
I can't keep track. Crazy world right now. We haven't even discussed the Bitcoin either. All right.
Yeah, I'll have to study up before our next episode for that one. Dogecoin, Bitcoin, whatever the frig it's called. Got to get my crypto on. But either way, that's going to wrap up this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Johnny Hockey and Ryan Callahan, great guests. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And we'll catch you next week. Have a great week, everybody.